quiet defense, riding out the day's events. The river. What you say about his company is what you say about society. Catch the mist, catch the myth, catch the mystery, catch the drift. The world is love and life are deep. Maybe as the skies are wide. Today's Tom Sawyer, he gets high on you. When the space he invades, he gets by on you. A modern day warrior, mean stride. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride. Though his mind is not for rent, don't put him down as arrogant. His reserve a quiet defense, riding out the day's events. The river. What you say about his company is what you say about society. Catch the mist, catch the myth, catch the mystery, catch the drift. The world is love and life are deep. Maybe as the skies are wide. Today's Tom Sawyer, he gets high on you. When the space he invades, he gets by on you. A modern day warrior, mean stride. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride. Though his mind is not for rent, don't put him down as arrogant. His reserve a quiet defense, riding out the day's events.
And hello, everybody. Mix up on time. Nick will be here. I accidentally said an hour late, so he might be a little late. He said he's going to be early, so he should be in within the next hour. But that's okay, because we have plenty to talk about. We have Toonie, who's been here since like the beginning of Advocacy anyway, so that actually gives us our background note. And that's also the thing that I would like to ask Nick a few questions about, too, when he comes in. Because we kind of, it evolved. It's not the same as it was. And Tony, you're probably the best person to ask about this in here right now. Is in the beginning, advocacy was a lot different than now. I'm sure of it when it first started. Everybody came down on it. Like
Oh yeah,
what?
there wasn't really much going on because it was a wild wild west.
Yeah,
You know,
and then when
the,
it
the
I can
added,
imagine in the early days. I mean, I know that Casa's been around since 2008, 2009.
yep,
But I can imagine. I mean, nobody was really talking about it, other than some things happening in California in like 2009, the FDA thing. But after Sotera and Enjoy, it was
right, the
quiet
Android
really
thing,
till
right?
you start getting up to like the deeming regs. But
yep,
between the Sotera case and Enjoy case and FDA and deeming regs, it was some
And
local stuff, but
Governor
advocacy just
Schwarzenegger.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You had Arnie stand up for you. Yeah, yeah. That was. But yeah, I can only imagine it was pretty quiet, and it was the early days. We didn't have nearly as much science to tote around and things like that either back then. It was far more anecdotal and a lot of it based on other tobacco harm reduction products and
Yeah,
things.
right. Well, the money wasn't being diverted like it is, well, like it was a couple years ago. So there was nobody really had too many issues about anything.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
and
the funding started going down when the smoking rate started going down, and
and that's when all of a sudden we had to fight advocacy. Anybody notice the correlation here? Smoking rates going down. All of a sudden, now we have someone to fight. And we didn't
Yeah.
really have that until we saw that going on. When there's actually a change in the world market, it is as much as we and I try. I really try to focus and say it's not about all about the money, but in one way or another, it does fall on money. It's just for each organization, everything,
I
with the
mean, money,
exception.
yeah, money and ideology. I think for a lot of your well, not a lot, but I think there are a few major anti-nicotine orgs that are very much picking a new target for funding, to keep themselves alive and relevant and going. There are definitely a few of those, but there's also a lot of people, smaller organizations. There are organizations still within the broader harm reduction movement um, that don't understand vaping. There's a lot of ideology at play, especially in academia. There's a lot of ideology at play within tobacco control itself that really does not come back to funding. It's really there's a deep prohibitionist mindset that a lot of people are stuck in. Um, but yeah, I would agree that for definitely for a certain big few orgs out there, money is definitely a driving factor.
And a lot of these other places you're talking about with the ideology that comes from the fact that we look to these big organizations. We've looked at them for like our entire lives. Looked at them as a source for actual reality news, and to know what was actually going on and what to avoid. And once you dive down this rabbit hole, like advocacy, you actually really start to unveil the truth behind a lot of things, and it's scary. It's
Yeah, and I mean,
yeah,
even before vaping, there were a lot of organizations, CTFK, PAVE didn't exist, CTFK, Truth, which used to be the Legacy Foundation. Um, there were still a lot of lies. There have been lies told around secondhand and third hand, fourth hand smoke, for decades used to justify outdoor bans and public living bans and things like this. Um, so they were no, they weren't naive, they weren't new to the lying and embellishing game to further their agenda. So they just kind of piggybacked off of that with vaping.
look at the war
Took
on
what they
drugs in
knew
the 80s and
worked and
90s.
applied it to the new target.
War on drugs, 80s and 90s. I mean, that whole mindset worked. They worked somewhat for them, but then in the interim it worked. In the long term, once things came out, it actually kind of backfired on them. And again, with the youth vaping epidemic, as they call it, back then it was like, the whole "this is your brain, it's your brain on drugs, a frying pan," all this kind of stuff. It made people want to try it. As a teenager, it made it kind of like, huh,
Oh yeah,
I
Dare.
want a fried egg brain. I
Dare
mean,
was a horribly failed program. I mean, if you really dive into the successes of Dare, there aren't any.
yeah,
Uh, In
Let's
fact,
go to
more
schools and
teenagers.
pass joints around all the classes. Yeah.
Educate on everybody on the best drugs. You know, this is exactly what this drug will do for you. This will do this, and you got
Yeah,
this
let's do
list.
it.
First time ever as a kid, you have a list in front of you.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what you want. There it is.
Yeah, graphics and everything.
Yeah, and a lot of these kids back then had no idea what some of these drugs were. Never heard of them. Maybe they'd heard of alcohol, maybe weed, but these kids hadn't heard of heroin, PCP, methamphetamine, cocaine. They had no idea what these were. And here you are just telling these kids, these are these drugs, this is what but don't ever do them, they'll kill you. They'll make you feel great, don't do them, they'll kill you. What a
Fear-
tactic.
Yeah.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. They gave you the drug list. They literally gave you that drug list, like from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Here you go. Here's your list. Get everything on it.
I fully believe we should teach our youth about drugs. We should teach them about what they do, and we should teach them harm reduction practices and how to use those drugs as safely as possible if they ever choose to. I'm a firm believer in quality, real, open, and honest communication about drugs with especially teenagers, especially high schoolers.
But don't just push all of a sudden this this, don't do this, and then not really truly give a reason. Just don't do this, and then come up with these outlandish things.
Bad.
I mean, okay, we think of one of the commercials with vaping recently. Like they do the whole metal dragon thing. You know, as a kid, that would be kind of cool to watch, and you're like, I wonder if I can get a metal dragon. I mean, you never know the mentality that's going through their head.
Yeah,
but
no,
it makes it look cool.
It's just that Nancy Reagan say no to drugs mantra has just never worked. You're telling young people who deal with the biggest variety of problems that you can go through as a human being at that age without knowing how to handle them, how to handle your emotions, how to handle your social skills and all these things that you're actively learning. And then here you have adults telling you like, oh, these drugs will make you feel good, be more productive, feel euphoric, take your pain away, all these things, but don't ever do them. And the more that you tell kids, hey, don't do that thing that sounds great and awesome, just don't do it, the more they're going to want to do it.
And then it'll eventually settle down.
All this appeal on the table with no way to care for yourselves, reduce your harm, stay as safe as possible. And that's where we really went wrong. We didn't go wrong telling youth about drugs. We went wrong telling youth, like leaving them in the dark about how to take care of themselves, take care of each other, and how to stay safe. That's where we went wrong. We omitted that part. We just ended it with, but don't do it.
Yeah, we piqued their curiosity.
Yeah, exactly. And then we left them with no tools, and that's really where that's still where we go wrong today. And we're doing the same thing with vaping. We're doing the same thing with nicotine as we've done with every other drug with our youth. We're claiming this is, it's going to make your brain fizzle out and you'll never be able to pay attention again, and it's brain poison and this and that and the other, and just say no. And then when youths do what youths do and get curious and rebel and whatever, or seek self-medication or whatever they're going through, treating their own trauma on their own time, and then when they experience it and they go, wait, this isn't anything like all of the adults told me. Oh, all of the adults are lying.
With the exception of there is addiction. There is an addiction issue, and then they have the addiction, but they don't know how to manage it.
And I mean, here's the thing too. I always question when I see, truth commercials and things, and it's a subset of teenagers. Obviously, they're all paid actors or whatever, but the testimonies are true as far as we know of youths who, claim, I couldn't function without it. I couldn't get out of bed without it. I couldn't pay attention in class without it, but thanks to this handy text app, I was able to quit in a week.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
So heavily addicted to this product. So
did you notice
unbearably without it, just the most, gut-wrenching withdrawals of your life. They
almost made it easier to focus.
On
getting
they shoot a lot of holes in their own feet.
Getting into the Nick salts, like that's actually they almost kind of pushed it that way because they made it hard to get anything else for a teenager. So now we got these disposable Nick salts out there, And that's the one that they really did no information on either, and didn't explain the fact that, well, if you're going to have a problem with, being able to put this down and not be able to function without it, this is the one that's going to do it the most. It's,
Sure. I mean, there's
yeah,
definitely a higher, higher milligram, higher chance for dependence and whatnot there, I suppose. But yeah, we definitely, that's the idea of, where we're at right now with this massive flood of, you know, cheap disposable products is a direct result of the policies we have in this
yep,
country.
sadly.
When
And
you
it,
shut down all the rest of the market, the illicit or gray or what have you market is more than happy to step up every time.
Yeah, no doubt.
They're
Like
always happy
like
to fight.
this, like this, Logan.
Yeah, they're just waiting. I mean,
like,
that's prohibition 101. Yeah.
you guys are both there this week watching TBN. I saw you both in chat with Danielle going through her charts and stuff with the smoking rates, how much they've went down since like the early 2000s to now.
Oh yeah.
That is just amazing to see that, and happy to see that. But you know what? But they have to have an enemy. As that goes down, they have to have something. They have to have a nemesis in order to
Yeah,
keep
I
some of these
mean,
organizations around.
what is campaign for tobacco free kids when all the kids are tobacco free?
Right.
Yeah.
What
Oh,
happens then? You
Well,
know
they
that
changed your name to nicotine free kids.
Yeah,
yep.
in all of Matt Meyer's infinite wisdom, which don't get me wrong, I truly believe the man is pure evil, but he's not stupid. He's a very
Oh,
smart man.
he's a lawyer. He's not
Yeah,
stupid.
he's not dumb by any means. He's a very smart man. But even I don't think Matt Myers, 30 years ago, 25 years ago, I think CTFK recently had their 25-year anniversary a couple of years ago, maybe a year or two ago, something like that. Or 20-year anniversary, maybe it was. Either way, in all of Matt Meyer's infinite wisdom, I don't think he foresaw youth smoking rates at a as low as they are, like 2% or less
Yeah.
right now, as far as youth daily smoking numbers go. I don't think he foresaw that ever. I would dare to bet that he thought he would be fighting this war till the end of his days. That he would never see them this low, and that his organization would thrive
Yeah.
fighting youth smoking for the
Yeah.
next 100 years.
Yeah.
And then vaping came along.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's crazy. Like when I was in high school, it was like 40%
Yeah,
smoking
sure.
rate.
Yep. Same. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually looked at what the youth smoking rate was when
I
I
think
started
in
smoking.
'76, I think it was around 40%.
So
I mean,
let's
we had a smoking lounge in my high school. If you were a senior, you could go in the smoking lounge.
we didn't have that. Obviously, I didn't start smoking until 2005. I'm a young buck addy, but so I was 14 in 2005. Let's see. Cigarette use among high school students. Among high school youth students, and this is CDC's numbers. Let's see.
And here's the interesting part. Back then, they didn't even have to embellish. They didn't have to go down a witch hunt to try and figure out how to make the graph look good. Because there really, I mean, if you were in school during that time, there were a lot of smokers. I know me and a
Yeah.
lot of my buddies who always smoked, and honestly, we probably would have played a lot better sports if we weren't smoking.
Yeah,
Quite
no
often
kidding. Yeah.
First couple laps you do, sprints you do, you're like, and then it comes out and you're okay.
Yeah. I remember
23% in 2005, which I'm assuming, I'm just guessing, back then what those surveys looked like. You're probably looking at past 30 day, knowing CDC and how they word those surveys. I doubt that they've, gotten away from that kind of sneaking in that higher percentage. But according to the data in 2005, smoking prevalence in high school was 23%.
No,
What year
and
did you say, Addie? Maybe
I
I can.
think it was 76. It was around 40.
Okay, let's. I'm gonna see if I can do. We're just gonna do some live data digging here. guys.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was
Danielle
what?
would be so proud of me.
I know it.
Mine was,
She's the data
I
one.
started actually smoking on a daily basis in like '87.
I was really quick to go from not smoking to smoking a pack a day. It
Yep,
really, I had very readily available access to cigarettes, and
same.
it really did not take me very long. I knew people that, you know, at my age who smoked a cigarette when they could get one, and that was it.
Yep.
I very quickly transitioned from not smoking to being a pack a day
Well, you
smoker.
probably had a full beer when you were 11, right?
Oh yeah, man! I came out of the womb with this. I was born this glorious. All right,
See,
let's see if I can find
I
surveys
used to
from
drive to the
76.
store and get my mother's cartons of cigarettes at 11. Not even supposed to be behind the wheel of a car at that age, but I was doing it for her. So it's like, not only am I driving at 11 years old, not supposed to, but I'm actually going to the store and picking up cigarettes that even at that time had a 18.
Oh, the
So
good
it's
old
like,
days.
yeah. So at that point, I had access to it all I wanted, and I worked, did stacked firewood, helped split firewood, so I always had money. Always doing farm jobs in the summertime, so there's always money involved. So that was never an issue, and cigarettes weren't nearly as expensive as they are now. So, yeah, I went like you said, Logan, from nothing to like a pack a day or more
Yeah, yeah.
overnight.
It really did not take me very long. It looks like they really weren't asking a lot of questions back then, not like they do now, and the survey data wasn't as strong. Bachman, this is 1997.
Well, when did the World College of Physicians the report come out? Like 62?
60 2 years before us, so yeah, 62, and the Surgeon General here in the US was 64.
And that was what, like half the world was smoking back then, right?
Thank you, Duchess. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like it was very, yeah, it was like one
Well,
on a two a
that wasn't long after they took
something like
they
that.
just barely started taking them out of the rations. Like they were in your rations before. You'd have a couple cigarettes in your rations in the military. Not long before
Yeah,
that.
that was ongoing for a while beyond that.
I mean,
Let's
here's what you do. You smoke that. Coughing is never going to give away your position out in the field. No. Hacking up a lung. Oh, that's perfectly normal. That's the animals. The animals cough like that all the time.
Nuts. Well,
let's see. These are like old archived.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
always fun.
pre-internet data is what it is. Pre-internet
Yeah,
data.
this is let's see.
He's gonna have to order some microfiche and look through it. Remember the old microfiche, Addy?
Oh, yeah.
Remember have to go to the library and look up the microfiche, and you're like
Oh, brutal.
trying to find this little spot on the magnifying glass on a little
Oh, my
microscope.
God.
Then they had the digital thing. Once they got the digital one, then you can see it on a screen, but you still like move it a centimeter and you're like off 3 pages.
Yeah, that's one good thing about technology. It's so much easier than looking stuff up, and oh my gosh.
And we had computers in school when I was in school, but Addy, probably you predate it just a little bit because I just barely hit that cusp.
Yeah, we had them in college. We had a math lab. That's where I learned to use computers. But yeah, you'd have to do your math lab projects on 5 1/4 inch floppy disks, and you'd have to do your homework on 2 disks because one would typically always fail.
And you always had to write everything out for your math too. And that now you got a calculator. It doesn't have anything can be done on a calculator. You don't have to write out. It's like, well, I wish I had that because I hated writing that out. I could do some of it in my head, and I couldn't do it in my head if they had to write it out to get the credit.
So I can't get a clear number on youth, but this is an article. This is an article from 1976. And they say a survey of smoking habits for 64 to 66 showed that 52.4% of American men over 21 smoked, and this dropped to 42.2% in 1970 and 39.3 in 75. For women, it was upwards of 32% in the mid 60s, 42% in 70, and down again to 28.9 in 1975.
Christy,
So,
I think that's a good idea
I mean,
because
I would assume, Eddie, you're probably pretty close in that 40% mark. You know,
and now look,
maybe give or take 5 to 10, so 30 to 40%. I would assume somewhere in there. I don't want to just make a wild prediction on
Right.
numbers I
Yeah.
can't
Fine
but
digging skills there, Logan.
yeah, that's what I, and that's adults. So, but
yeah, but look at the
yeah.
juiced up numbers we have now, and still they're really low.
Yeah, because
So-
I think we're somewhere between like 12 and 14% of American adults are currently still smoking.
Which is a drastic decrease. So
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely still things that we can do there, like FDA getting off the backs of, products like vaping, but
yeah,
yeah,
healthier alternatives.
definitely a lot lower than it was, which is a good thing. For sure.
It's gray. Oh,
I
that's
personally like seeing my family live a little longer, and not have them all, have to deal with cancer and other medical issues because of it.
Oh, yeah.
I've
yeah,
had
absolutely.
way too much in my family. Actually, I have to say, New York, upstate New York and Adirondacks, that's like a pastime. Smoking was a pastime for like my generation.
Oh, I mean, smoking's been a pastime for every generation.
True, but
Yeah.
I mean, even as kids, that was like, what else you got to do? Well, we can go cow tipping, or we can have a cigarette, or we can do both. Yeah, drinking our lemonade. Yeah, at a
That's what this is.
bonfire.
I'm having lemonade. It's lemonade.
Hey, I made some
Nice.
lemonade. So,
There's no whiskey in it.
yeah,
As
and
much as Jay loves to lie, there's no whiskey in it.
here we go, Addie. We don't know what's in this, right? Oh, wait a minute. I put that in there. I know exactly what's in there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got that right.
Addie, what do you think about Logic's market approvals from FDA?
Oh,
Oh,
it's a joke at this point. It really is.
Yeah. I guess I have a mixed bag of emotions about it.
I mean, it's great as an arguing point, especially like, on my stuff on Twitter, because I can say the FDA,
has said these products are appropriate for the
Yeah,
protection of public health.
have approved vape products. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
It'd be nice if they'd approve something that's actually modern to this decade. But
Yeah, I mean, look, across the board, the more approved products, the better. And
Yeah.
I'm not somebody who particularly cares where they come from, whether they come from
right. Yeah, I could care less
big
either.
tobacco companies or they come from independent vapor companies or what have you. Anyone who thinks that incumbent tobacco companies shouldn't be helping to solve the problems that they create, like that's a silly argument.
Right.
And so wherever they come from, I think it's a good thing. But yeah, can we approve something that's not outdated and used by absolutely no one?
I mean, these are better than the stuff that they've approved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
I had never even heard of a Logic Pro until FDA approved its marketing. I was like, what is a Logic Pro? Who uses a Logic Pro? Let alone the Logic Sig-Likes.
It really surprises me that PMTAs have even been put in for these products.
Yeah. And so I actually have that press release pulled up.
oh, here,
or
I
did,
can
from FDA.
make sure you can share.
And here's a really you want me to? I can actually share it.
You can share. Yep.
Let me do that.
I mean, when we're going to see something like this, something that could really make a difference. You know what I mean?
That's it. Something that's modern to today that actually has good flavor that'll actually draw more people away from cigarettes.
Is this
And
sharing
while you're
my
sharing
whole
it,
screen,
I'm
or you
gonna
guys
go-
just seeing my,
Yep, I see
Get
it.
rid
I
of
see
some
your
I see
your
it.
text up there.
Okay, so just this, or do you guys see my whole desktop?
I just see that.
Yeah, just
Zoom is
the
weird.
text.
Zoom is weird. All right. Anyways, so here's the official FDA news release or whatever. And I think some of the most telling information, you can listen to Robert Califf told us himself and some dumb quotes from Mitch Zeller. But down here, I think is really the most telling stuff. When you get to the bottom of this, they talk about specifically available data showed that current tobacco users who use these tobacco flavored products are more likely to significantly decrease their use of combusted cigarettes, and that those who don't smoke are unlikely to start using these products. Most study subjects decreased the number of combusted cigarettes they smoked each day by greater than 80%, from an average of 13 to 16 cigarettes per day at screening to 1.2 by day 59. So here's one of the first notes that I want to make on this. Yes, there is still a great potential for these products for adults who want to use them, but it took 2 months for 80% of the people who did use these products to go from 16 cigarettes to 1 to 2 and still continue to smoke and not fully switch. Why? Because they're outdated. They're not as good. They don't deliver nicotine that well. And I can't imagine that Logic's tobacco flavor is all that stunning.
Right.
And these been newer products that do deliver nicotine better and did come in better flavors that appealed to adults. That number may be much closer to 100, and it might be a lot more achievable in less than 59 days. So they're toting numbers that we know we can beat with better products.
I tried the blue back when I first tried to quit, and it's like, no, it wasn't right, and it wasn't good. It wasn't pleasurable in any way.
And again, I don't want to knock this entirely. There's still potential for people to use these products and quit. And that's a great thing. Or even just reduce their smoking. That's still a great thing. I just know we can do better than this.
Right. And it's almost like they know that people are going to struggle with these products.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, they're literally saying people are still continuing to have their 1 to 2 bare minimum cigarettes a day, 80%. What's the other 20% look like?
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, we don't want to promote these products as, being better than Chantix or, God forbid that we don't want to cut it into a pharmaceutical profit.
They do a lot of dancing in this little bit right here. The data also showed that the products produce fewer or lower levels of some toxins. Fewer or lower levels of some toxins is a really tango-y way of saying, yeah, they definitely reduce a lot of toxins, but we don't want to say it out loud.
Yeah, like carbon monoxide, like
they do throw carbon monoxide in there, which is great. Then combustible products and the products abuse liability. You guys, stop punching your nicotine products, okay? Just stop abusing them so FDA can stop using this awful term. Stop punching your vapor products, you guys. I tell you what. Or the ability to encourage
apparently they're going in there and they're complaining.
Which I'm glad they threw this distinction in here. They didn't go into depth and explain to the public the difference between addiction and dependence, but they at least stated it. It's a step. And it was lower than combusted cigarettes. So yeah, another real gonna dance around the idea that these products do help people to quit. We just don't really want to say it out loud, and it's definitely less harmful for you, but we don't really want to say it out loud.
They had to add that like carbon monoxide to make it sound like that. Oh, this is the big one, even though that's.
But here's a really, really telling paragraph that I think is going to tell us a lot about the future of approvals, as evidenced through data collected via the NYTS compared to users of non-tobacco flavored end products. Young people are less likely to start using tobacco flavored end products. You still with me here?
Yeah.
The data also suggests that most youth and young adults who use ends begin with flavors such as fruit, candy, mint, and not tobacco flavors. So this whole time we've been saying, yeah, they're only going to approve tobacco flavored products. They're basically saying, look, guys, we're only going to approve tobacco flavored products.
Which unfortunately is not as effective.
FDA,
not as effective.
Without actually saying.
Not as effective. They got to keep it less effective so they can continue to have somebody to put on the other end of that stick.
They have to keep it shackled, essentially. They want adults to use these products. They do. Mitch Zeller knows the potential for these products, and he does want people to switch. He has said multiple times, adults who switch completely, like this is a good thing.
Yeah.
But they have to keep it shackled. They have to keep it reined in. They got to keep it tight. You know, they don't want 30,000 flavors on the market. They don't want 15,000 e-cigarette manufacturers. FDA can barely handle the power wall of tobacco in a convenience store as is.
Yeah.
That,
I know.
I mean,
What do we have now? Like 6, 7 products with IQOS that
yeah,
are
I don't
authorized?
know in total. I know, was it the IQOS? There's a newer IQOS that just got something from FDA, and I don't want to say the wrong thing or what it is, but there is some updated stuff about IQOS from FDA.
I do remember seeing that too.
Yeah, and look again, I know a lot of people that shit on IQOS and heated tobacco because it's still leaf tobacco, and maybe it is only 70 to 80% less harmful than smoking. Maybe it doesn't compare to vaping and snus and pouches and other products like that. But look, that's still a lot of reduced harm. And for people who can't or won't use these other products, these don't work for them. That's still a very viable option.
Or it's not
And if
available to
people
them,
and if
unfortunately.
people stand on this hill of, well, all leaf tobacco is bad, A, you're wrong. And B, what do you care more about? Fighting big tobacco, or do you care about saving lives?
Yeah, that's the bottom line is saving the smokers.
Yeah, I mean
I mean, we all remember what an awesome feeling it was not having to freaking go buy that pack of cigarettes anymore. We just wanted to help everybody, all the smokers out. You know, we wanted to have them get that feeling.
Christy's not wrong. Throw one drop of tobacco with flavor and call it tobacco by name. You know, that's not absurd as it sounds because tobacco flavorings don't taste like tobacco. Not really, in most cases. So, yeah, that's not absurd.
I mean, so there is some issue with this. And I know that this idea gets thrown around a lot. And I think it's nifty and I think it's fun. But as far as getting those products through a PMTA approval process, they're going to know. They're going to know that there's other flavoring in there. They're going to know. And people are like, oh, what is some guy at FDA going to sit and vape on it? No, but they are going to do a spectrometry test. And well, not they, but they are going to request all of that information. They need every ingredient. They're going to know.
I was going to say, you have to give them the recipe. So,
yeah,
strawberry and your tobacco.
They're going to know that it's there. And, FDA defines anything that's, a characterizing flavor or whatever as something non-tobacco. So,
for approval, you're not going to get it.
People can get away with something, though. I think, if you learn maybe a little bit of DIY tricks along the way, if we do ever, and it's a big if, but if we do ever get open e-liquid approved in a tobacco flavor, hopefully a company puts out a really, really light tobacco flavor that we
or
can
non-flavored.
Or non-flavored. You can mask at home. So non-flavors, actually, there's already been denied PMTAs for
no flavor?
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy.
The company.
There's 2 of them that got denied non-flavored, which makes no sense at all.
It doesn't have any flavoring sense. So what are they denying?
Nude nicotine. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah, I think one was nude. I forget who the other one was.
Yeah. But yeah, basically, essentially just an unflavored PGVG nic base was denied as well. And I think FDA saw the potential for people to simply flavor it, and that's why it got denied.
Not totally against that idea either, though, because somebody, just starting off and doesn't really know how to DIY, hasn't really followed the DIY groups, could put unsafe flavorings in there because they just want flavor and they're desperate and they don't know. See, there is a potential for danger there. So
that argument can be made about literally for any open e-liquid, and I think that's a really dangerous argument for us to make.
Yeah, absolutely, it is.
It is. It's on the wrong side.
We're arguing against open e-liquid in general when we try to make that argument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily want to do that. But my hope is that if we do get any open e-liquid, even if it's in tobacco, that hopefully there is, a number of them that come out that are very light in tobacco. And I love a good tobacco flavor. So please, let's get some tobacco flavored PMTAs through, because I love a good tobacco flavor. Toonie here has an excellent bourbon leather tobacco that he has sent me before
I,
that is
I
absolutely
got to get you
stellar.
that plum tobacco brandy out to you. You'll like
Ooh,
that. I
that
think
sounds right up my
it's
alley
really good.
too.
Yeah.
But hopefully that we can get those out there, and then people find them and they do get into groups, or they join CASA, where we have plenty of people in our state groups that we can say, hey, look, these are flavorings that you can buy. This is an easy mix. This masks that liquid really well. And the DIY community can play an additional role on top of what DIY is already doing, and help people, mask on top of flavors that they're able to get.
And create recipes that'll work with individual different
Yeah.
flavors that are out there.
Yeah. And that we can continue to keep the DIY community safe, because we desperately need to safeguard DIY as much as possible right now. And I know that recently we had Wayne from DIY or Die On, and we had
Jennifer
Jennifer.
Winstead.
Yeah, we had Jen
Yep.
on as well, talking about DIY. And people have a lot of questions as to where they can get nicotine. Look, you guys, there are places you can get nicotine, and there are ways to still get nicotine, but you need to get into those groups. CASA has a ton of groups you can get into. There are a lot of DIY discords. Wayne has opened his Discord to the community as well. Reach out to people, get into those groups, and I suggest private DMing people. The quieter that we can be about getting everybody the nicotine that they need, the better.
Doesn't
Yeah.
help those that are still smoking, sadly, but it keeps
No.
us.
I mean,
it's
but
healthier.
that's not something you can blame on the community for helping each
No.
other. You blame that entirely on CDC and FDA and policymakers. That's who you blame that on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree with
Exactly.
you. It doesn't help people, but if we can't help as many people who are still smoking, we damn well can definitely help people from going back.
Exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I don't think that's anything to look down upon or whatever.
No,
But yeah,
it's still
you
prolonging
blame
lives,
CDC.
creating a better quality of life. That's the whole, and giving them a choice, giving them back their choice.
Yeah. But I mean, trust me, every day we're still fighting for people who smoke to have accurate, honest information about these products and access to them as well. Like, it's something that's a hill I'm gonna die on.
Heck yeah.
But definitely part of that hill is trying to make sure that people who have quit and have switched don't go back. It's a two-pronged mission at this point.
And
Yep.
I don't know. One of the things I wanted to say is, you don't have to be like go great guns every day. Everybody out
No.
there, it's just stay in the fight. For the long haul.
if
stay
things
There
are-
are days on Twitter where I just post what my dinner was.
right.
and if there are times when things are kind of slow, but you kind of feeling the itch, log into CASA and go over there and make sure check out your representatives, send them your story or something positive towards it. And that's that's the most proactive thing we can actually do, is keep them in a loop, not sending them a bunch of emails last minute and hoping they see it and they'll change their mind. Get them on board a little ahead of time.
There's tactic to that as well, and I know that people take issue with this sometimes as far as CASA's timeliness with calls to action. So when it comes to CASA, we do provide everyone. You don't have to even be a member. You can just go to CASA.org and you can head over to the legislator lookup and quickly type in your address, and you'll get all your reps, your legislators. We have pre-written stuff. We have notes that suggestions for having making a good point. And we encourage people to reach out to your lawmakers as much as you can. Be proactive as well. But when it comes to calls to action, people people are not necessarily, I guess, they don't understand that we really get one shot. When we put out a call to action, we get a big swell and a big boom of engagement right then, like within the first 1 to 2 days. And then after that, it trickles, you guys. It's a small stream of participation. And so what we want is right before legislators go to discuss these topics and go to have a hearing or a meeting or whatever, we want that big swell fresh on their mind. We want them to be thinking about our stories and our concerns right when they walk through that door to go to that meeting, to go to that hearing. If we put out that call to action 2 months early, even 2 weeks early, with as busy as some of these people are, they can long forget about us by the time. And it also gives our opponents more time to get into their ears before they walk through those doors. So we really get one shot, and we don't have a lot of room to miss. Yeah, so we try to put them out when it's absolutely necessary, so we can get that big push, that big attention, that big engagement, because we know how little we get after that. And if we were to put out a call to action twice, we get barely any engagement because people
they already did it. Already did that. Yep.
And so, yeah, it's I would love to send out 100 calls to action every day about a topic, man, and get a million responses every day.
Yeah, this is a discussion you and I had the other day, because I said something about that, and you said you can't do the call to actions because we want to be tactile, and that makes sense. What I'm talking about is just like a continuous reminder. Remind them that there are people there that care about this harm reduction. Remind them that there are people that have a healthier life going on because of this. But don't burn yourself out to the point where if a call to action comes up, you're not feeling the ability to do it. Like if you're doing it on a continuous basis to the point where you get burnout. We had a lot of discussion about that lately.
Yeah, it's real. Take breaks. There's there's other things in all of our lives that we need to pay attention to. We can't just be, mindless advocacy robots and deprive ourselves of.
Well, we are bots, right?
Yeah, and be
bots, that's the other thing.
Deprive ourselves of happiness and joy and all the rest of the things that life has to offer. Life is short, so I think it's definitely very important to take breaks and not make this the only thing that you do.
Yep.
As the kids say, go outside and touch grass.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you just gotta go do something, and that's really important.
From a landscaper. From the landscaper.
Yeah, from a landscaper. Take my advice.
But you're gonna be doing a lot of that pretty soon, Logan.
Oh yeah.
And here we go.
We're well on our way into the season. Yeah. Look at that clean shaven baby face.
I know. I know.
I'm trying to can you hear me okay? Does everything sound
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, spectacular. I've been trying to grow the mustache back, so it's at the beginning stages right now, and I just
got that
like a high schooler.
You got that 2:00 little shadow stubble going on.
Yeah. At the end of your vacation, if it's not growing back in, I told you in chat last night, or Thursday night, Sharpie. There you go. It's okay.
You look very young and spry.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Logan Exhales. I try to be young and spry. It's all an illusion.
As long as he doesn't wear a camo hat, because that aged him 20 years when he put that hat on.
Yeah, instantly. This is just Disneyland. Up front, it all looks pretty good, but back here, it's just breaking down.
Behind the scenes,
I'm breaking down. Behind the scenes, it's bad news.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about my friend who was not Disney enough to get a job at Disney after Disney offered him a job?
So
I have a friend, Ryan, he's a makeup artist and he does all sorts of really cool stuff. Mm-hmm. And he had kind of, out of curiosity and like a joke, basically applied to Disney, and they looked over his stuff, they looked at his art, and they were like, yeah, absolutely, we want you, so we're gonna get you through this application process and this whole 9 yards. Mm-hmm. And then when they met my buddy Ryan, he's very much like you, just head to toe tattoos, and they were like, oh, you are not. And he had dreadlocks to his ass, and they were like, you're not Disney material. And he's like, but I'm a makeup artist. Like, no one is ever going to see me.
Yeah, I'm not the public face of the company.
Yeah, they're like, no, you're not Disney.
Give me a break.
Wow. Hey, well, look.
Yeah.
Disney's going to Disney,
Yeah, they're going to do.
That's just what they're going to do.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do, unfortunately.
Sorry I'm late.
No, you're not actually late. It's my fault. We got times mixed up. It's our fault.
He ended up at the shop.
Yeah. Well, welcome, Nick.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We're discussing
happy to be here.
Burnout right now.
Yeah.
Oh, real thing. That hits with me hard right now.
Well, you've been doing this for a little while.
Yeah.
A little.
Number of years. A little while. Yeah, and it only gets harder. It never gets easier.
No.
It
I mean,
didn't get
as
any
much as we
easier.
try to focus on the wins, even though they're sometimes few and far, it's those not wins that kind of add up and they play
Yeah.
they're on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does. And you know what helps me lately is I still think, like I was saying on that Inco stream, the small wins help, and it feels good to have a small win. And then I think you take that feeling that you had whenever you read the news that we had a small win somewhere, a flavor band got stopped, a tax got stopped, something like that. Think about that feeling, and then think about later down the road when harm reduction really, really wins, which it inevitably will. Think about that feeling, how that's going to feel. Whew, that's going to be good.
We're going to be lost. We'll be like, what do I do on Twitter now?
Yeah, that's good. I don't want to have to be an advocate,
Yeah,
for
cool.
my
I can go
entire
back
life.
to just tweeting about video games.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I can go back to having
Nick.
hobbies now.
Nick, you really you lost me money. I lost the bet with Lady Liberty. You didn't wear the famous shirt. Okay.
No. Oh yeah. No. We're not gonna. No, I wore my Michigan University of Michigan advocacy hat.
Yeah.
Yep,
This
I
is
noticed
the
that.
advocacy hat. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear Gretchen watches the show all the time. She's a big fan.
Does she? Is she? Yeah. Good. I hope so.
Yeah.
That's a sore subject with Nick.
Tunes into the vlog every week.
Yeah,
Gretchen.
she is fun though. Like to see her in the news all the time. It's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
she's such a clown.
Nick, what did you say the other day that yours? We went over this before. Smoking rates when you graduated high school. Where were they at?
Really high. I think it was. If it wasn't at 30%, it was near 30%. I think it was closer to 35% in
we did some
1994, 1995.
When I started smoking in 2005, high school rates were around 23. I couldn't get
When
a
you
good number on Addies in 76. I got some adult numbers around 40%, but I couldn't track down on the fly. My Google foo skills weren't good enough.
Really?
He
Yeah.
couldn't hack the microfiche.
No, I couldn't.
So, I'm sorry. What did you say it was? Did you say 1995?
For me,
That's the year I
When
graduated.
did you start smoking?
I started smoking in 2005.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I graduated in '95. It was rates were quite high
Same.
actually then.
Really high. That's what I'm thinking. Like it was. It's one of those things where I've read so many things and bookmarked a trillion things that for me to remember, I read that somewhere in all that. I think I remember reading that in 1994 it was around 30% smoking, high school smoking rates.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
if
had
any-
a smoking area.
If anybody didn't catch it on Tuesday this week, Danielle and Nick really went down through some graphs and stuff on this smoking rates.
Oh, yeah,
Very interesting
Danielle's
graphs. And you
Danielle
see the
rules at
jump
graphs.
in youth smoking vaping rates when they were all of a sudden jumping really hard against vaping. Oh, yeah, there we go. That looks cool now.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, when you put vaping posters in every bathroom of every high school across America,
That's a great
gonna
one.
go, hey,
you're not going to create any curiosity.
yeah,
Yeah, those right there. Yeah,
This is
Yeah.
the
Yep, that's the
Danielle.
one.
Lower
See
your
that jump?
smoking rates.
See that jump? That's right around the time they started really pushing hard and put the posters up.
yeah. Danielle had made that graph originally for a CASA stream that we did a few weeks ago when those numbers came out, and it's a stellar. Danielle just does such a good job.
Oh my God, she's so
Really
good.
good.
Graphs and I mean everything she's done on the website. She's got it down, man.
Yeah.
CASA has evolved very well.
I love Danielle Jones' graphic style. She's incredibly talented, and her graphs, graphs. I love Danielle Jones' graphs. They just make me so happy.
Sometimes I wish people could see like in CASA when Danielle gets new numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's the numbers like
I know.
percentage data girl,
Yeah.
And like when like new NYTS stuff comes out or Monitoring the Future comes
She
out,
geeks out,
she's
man.
just
She
like
geeks out.
she's like, oh, let me get into
Give me
those
those
numbers.
I would love to
Yeah.
see the live moment when she got it, because even on TBN, when she gets new numbers in and you guys get to talk about them, you see her perk right up. She gets so happy.
Oh, dude, she's like a kid in a candy store, man. When those
Yeah.
new numbers come in, yeah.
Like she was saying, it's unfortunate that they don't ask the right questions so we have a true graph rather than, their version of current user graph.
Shout out to Christy Kigley in chat. She says youth smoking rate was 28.8 in 76
Oh,
for youth numbers.
28.
good find, Christy. Thank you.
That's youth.
So from 76, here's a kicker though, because that youth smoking
Youth.
rate that I looked up for 2005 was 23%.
It
So
didn't
from
really go down.
76 to 2005, we went from 28.8 to 23.
Then vaping really started getting popular, and all of a sudden, coincidence?
Yeah, I mean, an additional decade later or so, youth really pick up on vapor products, but yeah, wild that in 30 years,
Yeah,
Less-
it was
less
like
than-
this,
tobacco control achieved like
Yeah.
6% drop.
Yeah,
Way to go.
here we are not celebrating it, but tobacco is probably celebrating that for many, many years.
But groups like
But honestly, go ahead, Logan.
Campaign
Go
for
ahead.
Tobacco-Free Kids will just absolutely pat themselves on the back for that 6% drop.
Right.
That they
Oh,
worked
yeah.
so hard for.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. At that time, if you're talking about this 30-year gap or this 30-year time period, it's like that was the best they had at the time. We didn't have vaping.
Sure.
There
exactly.
wasn't this like sudden new lightning in a bottle, like, oh, smokers love this and are dying to use it. So it's like, sure, that 6%, it might not seem like a lot compared to when vaping came in and just stomped smoking around,
But that's like NRTs. That's the effectiveness of the NRTs. to
Right. That
point.
shows the effectiveness of NRTs
Yeah,
completely.
versus bird watching.
Right.
It's one of my favorite things. Have you
Bird
tried?
watching. Have you tried bird
bird
watching? Have you tried bird watching?
No. You go get yourself a pair of binoculars and
You
stare
get
at
yourself.
that pod.
Don't forget to download that app, because that'll stop you right dead in your
Oh my
tracks. You're
God.
good.
But I started saying, what helps me a lot, like with the calls to action, I've gone to CASA and, I've gotten my senators and my congressmen's contact information, and I keep that on a file on my desktop. So, when the calls to action comes out, I'll do the CASA one, and then I'll go open my file, give them a quick call, send them a quick email.
Pretty stones.
It's like, so now it's down to like 10 minutes. Bam.
Hattie. Yeah. It doesn't take long, and it's real effective.
And that copy and paste thing for your story,
Be
like Logan
persistent,
talks about.
Be relentless,
Yeah, and I mean, look, if you don't know what to say, you're intimidated about making these phone calls, first and foremost, know that you're not going to talk to your actual representative.
Right.
No.
You're going to talk to an assistant.
I never
you're gonna
have.
talk to- yeah. I've
mean-
never reached Chuck Schumer.
I never
once.
have. Like, what? Dianne Feinstein? Oh, hey.
Only when they
expect to get you,
Click.
only
Yeah, so chances are you're going to either talk to an answering machine, or you're going to talk to assistant, who's just going to make a note about whatever it is you say. And if you're not sure what to say, CASA has tons of material that you could just read and fill in the blank with, hi, my name is, and read off of that. It really doesn't take long. And I mean, all of our emails are pre-filled
there's
out.
an interesting trick.
I keep a document on my desktop like Addie does, with my personal story and everything typed out.
Yeah.
So when we have a call to action out that I can participate in, I just copy paste my story in. My Mac auto fills my name and everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
It literally takes me 4 seconds to do a call to action. I mean,
It's really ridiculous. My Mac does the same thing, hence why I've almost doxed myself like 3 times in a live stream. Like, oh, you just click on the call to action. It's like, oh, my whole home address. Whoops. Filled it all in. Thanks.
There's
Damn
my
it.
phone number. Damn
I
it.
have to edit that out with a big black
Damn it.
square.
now we have to move again.
I have to move again. Yeah.
But if you go to hearings and stuff when they open up too, that is when you start getting your live feedback. Because I did get a lot of live feedback after going to a lot of hearings in New Hampshire and Vermont. from the actual representatives. But typically, that does require a face-to-face meeting once or twice in order to start getting any direct feedback.
What's Vermont? What's New Hampshire's vaping laws like? I never
New
hear
Ham-
anything about
New Hampshire, they tried to push a flavor ban. I actually got lucky enough to be a big part of that first stop on the flavor ban. That was a win for me. So, like you said, hold on to those wins. You hold on to them.
Yeah.
But another thing
Remember
is,
how you felt.
they did pass some taxes, but basically that's where they're at right now. Just a few small taxes, nothing major. So New Hampshire's kind of quiet. Vermont has passed the 92% wholesale tax way back before, when things were still kind of before the 9/11 thing happened, even like almost a year before that. So it's kind of, we missed that opportunity.
Yeah,
I wasn't involved
like,
yet.
New Hampshire's like live free or die from taxes.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody who lives there will tell you that property tax. Well, there's no sales tax, but their property tax. Living
See,
there is
California's property tax isn't that bad. I mean, it's expensive. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like horrific like the East Coast or like New York, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Substantially high.
It's
Anyway,
the gas. They get you in the gas tax.
Gas tax.
New York, man, is all about penny pinching. They will nickel and dime and bleed you dry that way.
Yeah.
That's
well,
how New York goes.
Look, I don't want to bring up something dark, but they did go pretty hard after Eric Garner for simply selling untaxed cigarettes.
Yeah, Lucy's.
So that's Lucy's. Yeah, Lucy's.
Yeah, pretty hard, like murder.
Yeah,
pretty hard.
Yeah,
hard.
That's pretty hard.
Too hard, I'd say.
Hey, they finally did something to Cuomo.
Way
I'm
over
happy.
Yeah, I mean, now they're just tasing kids. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, now they're just tasing kids.
Yeah,
so
multiple kids.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. We can't do corporal punishment, but we can tase them now. Okay, got it. Yep. All right.
And then hog tie
kids
them.
vaping at a skate park. That seems insane to me.
Yep.
Yeah, and people are like, "Oh, well, the press release from it kind of sounds like that officer lied," and I'm like, "Yeah, they always lie." Like that's like. You're new here? Okay, that's fine. Welcome.
There's a
yeah,
trend.
They always lie.
There's been a trend,
Oh, Breestone, that is exactly it. We heard you like taxes, so we're taxing your tax while you're taxed. For your taxes.
Yeah, and at the end of the year, don't forget to file those taxes.
Yeah, right.
So that we can take more from you. Yes.
Yeah.
So I was talking a little earlier about, it's a little easier nowadays because there's so many studies and so many great advocates on Twitter, like Charles Gardner, and that's where I get a lot of inspiration for my tweets.
Yeah.
Just like retweeting and quote tweet and
yeah. Charles puts a lot of good information out
He
there.
does.
And I mean, there's a lot of good advocates. There's people like Dr. Brad who've been doing it much longer than us.
Absolutely.
And,
You go ahead. You can get into that a little bit if you want to, Nick, because actually you had a lot to say about him on Tuesday, and that was actually awesome.
He's great. Dr. Brad rules. I mean, he's been doing. He got me woke to the idea that this is something I had no idea, but chewing tobacco is as much of a harm reduction measure from smoking as vaping is. Like close. It's real close.
Mm-hmm.
At 44 years old, I learned that.
Yeah, I know. I was surprised too. I did too.
Does everybody remember? It's going to tear your mouth apart to
that-
show all these horrible pictures of
Yeah,
mouth.
I thought chewing tobacco was like the worst thing. I was like, I'd rather just smoke.
When it really
Are you
comes
kidding
down
me?
to when it really comes down to oral tobacco, American oral tobacco is probably just some of the worst simply because of the sugar content. Americans like
Right. Yeah.
really like sweet tobacco.
Hey, we are
but
Americans.
outside of that, the biggest risks when it comes to any kind of loose oral tobacco is poor dental hygiene. If you're not keeping your teeth clean, your teeth floss, or tobacco is an organic thing. If it sits between your teeth or whatever, it rots, it decays, yada, yada, yada. It can cause all those dental problems. That's a fact. That's real. And dipping in the same spot.
Right.
A good way to go about it is to just move where you dip, because if tobacco is abrasive, and if you constantly damage that soft tissue over and over, it can cause problems. So that's one of the beautiful things about snus, though, being in a pouch. reduces, you know, that abrasiveness against your gums and your soft tissues.
Yeah.
And you don't get these chunks of tobacco in your teeth and all over the place. So snus, like right out of the gate, looks at the two biggest actual risks from that product and just solves them.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah, completely. Snus is wonderful. I love snus. I love the Zins. Have you ever used loose snus?
No, but like very like powdered.
Yeah, it's like it's softer. It was big when I went to Sweden. People in a lot of people in Sweden use snus. You can just see them using it, and there's people. You know, everybody needs a different level. Of nicotine. You know, some people need less, some people need a lot more nicotine. And there was the guy that did the tattoo of the Sweden crest on my neck. He used a lot of loose, moist snus, and he would just pack it like full bottom, full top tattoo.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't have to spit it or anything.
Yeah.
Just tattoo. And then he would get it all out, rinse and whatever. And then he'd pack the bottom, pack the top, just nicotine.
God's a buzzing like
tattoo,
crazy, right?
I'm like, I guess he just needs a lot of nicotine, and thank God he's not smoking. You know,
right?
That's all I can think.
The strongest snus I've ever had is Siberia snus, and it's something like 48 milligrams. And it,
yowza.
And one snus pack, like that packs a little bit of a punch. You know, I use like as far as like leaf tobacco snus goes. You know, I use somewhere around 20 milligram. And then, you know, I use some of the higher pouches when I use them, which are like 8, you know, 6 to 8 or something like that.
Right.
But that Siberia snus.
Siberia snus.
It packs a little bit of a wallop, man.
I'm going to search for this on the internet.
Yeah. Google Foo it, man.
Google Foo it.
You turned him on to something new.
Siberia snus. It's just something I'd like to try. I'm interested in like nicotine products, like safer nicotine products.
I ended up really enjoying it, but like you got to get through the first few, and then you kind of acclimate, you know, because at first you're like, wow.
I can kind of I can empathize with that, because the first couple times I flew when I vaped, I just didn't vape and it drove me insane. And then I tried to stealth vape on planes and I really didn't like that. So I decided I'll try snus on a plane. And the first time I tried snus on a plane, it was just from one of those Camel snus tins, you know, that you can kind of get 7-Eleven anywhere. And man, that packed a punch for me. I wasn't prepared for that. It really was like one pouch and I was good. It was like a 5-hour flight and I was fine. One pouch. I was good. And it was a whole mess of nicotine in it. Pardon me. Kind of lasted. I don't know. It was really good. Really surprised me.
That's one of the nice things about oral nicotine, just in general. You know, whether we're talking about pouches or snus or even NRTs, gums, what have you, is it's such a slower release. It's a much longer, drawn out, slow, steady release of nicotine, as opposed to taking a vape, inhaling it deep into your lungs, right into your bloodstream, and then you peak
it's
and then
there
you drop.
And it's gone. It's there and gone.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I use snus and pouches a lot in the summer when I'm out and about working on properties where I can't smoke. You know, if I'm working at a high school, there's a few high schools in town that we do some work at, landscape work and stuff, and you know, I can't walk around the courtyard of a high school and vape all day. Good Lord, I'd have principals and all sorts of things outside.
Yeah.
You know, can't do that here.
Well, we're looking for. We just reassigned a new landscape.
That's fine. You know, I'm happy to oblige because I have other products that I know will satisfy me. And I just throw in a pouch or throw in a snus or whatever, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, snus it's a lifesaver.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Stuff like flights and stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
And here's the thing. As a cigarette smoker, this is something I've realized recently. As a cigarette smoker, I had no desire or interest to try any other nicotine products. It wasn't until vaping that I went, oh, there's a lot of other nicotine products I could have tried and been trying. And, you know, I didn't even think about it when I was a smoker.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
You become more aware of nicotine instead of just like, I need a cigarette.
I need a cigarette.
Right. I need a cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You become more aware of nicotine. You know, the more you learn about nicotine too, I think a lot of us become more curious about other products and using them.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's just
I got a
weird.
question for Nick. I don't mean to derail the conversation, but just for a couple minutes.
Derail it.
Did
Eddie.
you see Dimitri's post on Instagram of you
No, I did not.
from the Thursday vlog when you said silica?
Oh
Silica.
yeah, that's funny.
He reposted it on Instagram and he was chuckling. That was great.
I love that. I
Oh,
like Dimitri. Me and
Oh, I
Dimitri,
love-
we've been in this for we came up together, basically.
yeah.
We
I
started
love
vaping
him.
right
He's a
around the
great,
same time.
freaking great guy. He's a monster of a guy too.
He is. He's a monster of a guy. He's a great guy. And there's been, we've known each other for what, 13 years now? We've had some ups and downs. We've had times where we don't agree on things or see eye to eye on things, or we might
That's
be
any
mad at each other.
relationship.
But we always come back around, and we always, we're always a unified front, and and I really appreciate Dimitri.
And remember, I was telling you about. Remember, we were talking about Zeke, EKG 711.
Oh yeah, Zeke.
And I reached out to him, and he's doing great.
Okay,
And
good.
I wanted to let you know that, and then I wanted to show you something else. That remember his remember his girlfriend Allie?
Yeah.
She used to take pictures of Zeke's builds,
Oh
and
yeah.
then she used to do graphics of them.
Oh,
And
that's
then-
cool.
I got
that's
this off
super
of
dope.
in Syracuse,
Really?
so
That's
I like
super
having
rad.
because it remembers some remembrance of those two.
Yeah, Zeke. I forgot about. He invited me to his wedding, and I was like, "Whoa, that's cool of him to do that." I couldn't attend. I was like, "That was cool." I liked Zeke.
But he was in your video, you and Homeboy, when you did that crazy coil. What was
Yes.
that?
What crazy coil?
It's like which one? Which one?
The one that was like a whole big cotton nest, like a
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
Nick, you remember
I don't
that
remember
one?
doing
the
it with
gargoyle
Zeke.
hoof. The
Remember that
gargoyle
one?
hoof
Yeah,
coil.
I remember the gargoyle hoof. We didn't do it with Zeke, but
Oh, I
I
thought
do
that was
remember
you, Zeke,
Zeke.
and Homeboy.
no, that was just me and Homeboy. That was one of the first times, like that gargoyle hoof video was one of the first times that Dwayne and I had really hung out. Maybe like the fourth time we had ever really hung out. And he's like, "Hey, we're gonna do this crazy build video, and we're just gonna ad lib and improv everything." And I was like, "Okay, that sounds dope." And so we just did it, and it turned out pretty good.
I'm so happy he's back to mixing again.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. We need more Dwayne. We need
Yeah.
more Yak in the world, for sure.
I'm actually impressed you liked his blueberry though, because you were pretty
I
adamant
like
about the
it.
blueberry. I'm sending you my damn blueberry, the one that Addie has already tried before. I'm sending it to you because I want to see if I can actually help boost this
Your
blueberry.
blueberry
trend.
jelly roll.
yeah.
Blueberry jelly roll.
It's actually an ode to glass blueberry cake, but it does have like a little bit of jelly
Tim's
roll. feel to
blue.
it.
I love that.
Yep. But what Duchess said, I want to ask that question of everybody here quick before it gets too buried. Chewing tobacco while I smoked, I end up doing both basically at the same time. Smoking with it, I had that same problem. Even if I chewed when I was smoking, I just smoked and chewed or had a snooze packet in.
You didn't ever have like a nicotine limit. You went, okay, that's enough.
Yeah,
So, I
I
mean,
did. And then what I would do at that age was push through it, and because back then you
Smoking,
did.
Keep
Yep.
keep chewing.
I'll get over this. I'll get a tolerance if I keep going.
I never chewed, but that's how it was for me when I did try to quit with gums and a few lozenges I had tried. I would just smoke.
Yep.
Yeah, chew up a piece of Nicorette and let it sit, and then I would just smoke. I'd give it a few minutes, and I'd be like, "This isn't doing it," and I'd smoke, and I'd leave it in, and I'd smoke and
Yeah.
spit the gum out and move on, and that was that. That did nothing for me.
Yeah.
The only thing it did, the gum did, is make your nicotine, your cigarette taste a little funky, because it had
Yeah.
that bite. Yeah.
Yeah,
I couldn't stand the nicotine gum. Couldn't stand it.
The flavor
It was
was
disgusting.
never good.
Freaking
Never good.
disgusting. Ugh.
Nope.
I've actually tried another company's gums. I tried Rogue, who also makes actually one of my favorite pouches. But they make gums and like lozenges and little dissolvable tablets. But even their gum, tasted a lot better than Nicorette, but
Yeah.
still not great.
Smoked with
burn your taste
patches.
buds off.
Oh, I actually do. I still have some.
Bree's doing smoked with the patches, so that tells you something.
Rogue gum. It's just called fruit flavor. That's it. They're just little
Fruit flavor.
It looks like
They're
a
just little,
Skittles. Looks like a
Yeah.
Skittles.
That's it.
Oh, but we can't resemble
I
anything.
mean, they do. They
We
taste
can't
good.
resemble.
They taste good, you know. And yeah, I have some of their little dissolvable tablets too. But you know, they weren't too bad. They're a lot better than Nicorette. I like seeing other companies get into it. I know there's another company out there that makes them Lucy, and they've
Oh god.
you know, they've tried to get through or trying to or have been through PMTAs or what have you. But yeah, that's a company that really likes to take shots down on everybody else.
Yeah.
Including people who
Yeah,
vape
you
and
think?
stuff
Yeah.
like that. I'm like, come on, you guys, like there's better ways to market your products than just taking cheap shots at everybody else, you know.
Yeah.
I'm
For
not
sure.
surprised they're allowed to advertise on Facebook.
Yeah.
I get Lucy
Well-
nicotine gum ads on Facebook.
Yeah.
And Facebook has a strict, I mean, after years on the platform, strict, no tobacco, no vaping.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah,
found it funny when you, Nick, on your stream, watching your stream, and up comes the ads. It's an anti-vape ad. It's like on your stream. It drives
that
me
would happen.
crazy when that happens.
Yeah.
It's happened a few times. And it's like, oh, the rage sweats.
Hopefully nobody clicks off the video because of that.
Yeah, Nick's like, all right, you guys ready for truth butter? And then bam, a truth ad.
Yeah.
When the truth ad happens.
So I don't know if it's getting any traction or not, but ever since Joe Biden put out the cancer moonshot thing,
Mhm.
I've been trying to integrate that a little bit in my tweets lately too.
Oh yeah, especially
Yeah.
when you're tweeting it at the left at Dems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's helping or what, but
Especially, you know, one thing that helps that I want to see if it still exists is there was a Democratic think tank that released this paper on vaping, and it's great, and it came from a Democratic think tank. So you kind of go, well, here, this is your people talking about vaping, talking about what I'm talking about. And it was really, really great. And it got taken down for a while, but I think it's back up. The Progressive Policy Institute, something like that. Anyway, that
You
was
find
something
it,
I
let me
thought was
know.
helpful. I'm going to
Yeah.
look through my bookmarks right now. That's
Are
the
your
problem with my
bookmarks
bookmarks.
as well organized as mine are?
In that they're in one gigantic folder labeled 510.
Yep.
Because I started the 510 report and had all these folders, and so it just became 510,
yeah.
and it's like
200 megs of
the
text.
510 folder is just bookmark like for days. So I go on my phone. Google Chrome on my phone is pretty good about searching them, so I can
Yeah,
search for
because you
keywords
can
and
search
generally,
for keywords.
yeah, like find.
Yeah, but if you use the computer like PC Chrome, and
It
then you
doesn't.
go into your mobile bookmarks, there's no search function. So whenever I'm on the computer, I'm like, all right, let me dig through hundreds of bookmarks to try to find the
I have
one.
actually found it's almost quicker to take it on your phone to send it to yourself.
Oh yeah,
Send
yeah,
a link
100%,
to yourself.
100%.
But then you have a whole bunch of links to yourself. Then you got to dig through them too sometimes. It's like,
Yeah, I keep telling myself one of these days I'm gonna go through and organize my bookmarks, and then I sit down to do
It'll
it,
never
and then I'm
happen.
immediately way too overwhelmed by it, and then I avoid it.
Yeah.
you could almost get burnt out just from doing that
Oh
alone.
yeah, I open it and I'm immediately like, no, I don't even.
Here
Nope,
it is.
don't even want to.
I don't think I can put this link in the chat, but it's the
You,
Progressive
you
Policy
can if you
Institute.
say something in chat, and I will add you to a mod. It just haven't talked to my chat before, I don't think.
Well, you don't have to add me as a. Okay. Well,
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you're here, you're here. If you're not, you're not. So
yo.
you just gotta say something quick in there, so I'll throw you on there.
Can I tell Duchess to shut up?
You can
Just
go
kidding.
ahead. Go
I'm
for
just
it.
gonna say, hey, Duchess.
Go for it.
Why don't you get on the 405 and get out of here?
Oh,
But that'll be. I was already thinking that before the show. If I got you in here, I would actually do that so you could put your links. And, oh, it's over
Metallica,
here.
bro, Metallica,
Metallica,
And
Duchess.
you are-
Metallica.
number
there-
one
Favorite
fan.
band.
And there you go. Now you can post any links you want, and you can share screen too if
Okay,
you want to
radical.
too.
Radical. Oh, I gotta shut this down.
All of it.
Oh, that's
might
something
have-
else I wanted to ask you, Nick. Casey's got to be loving life now. There's live shows again.
Oh yeah, yeah. She is, and she isn't, in the sense that it just means that she's back to a lot more work.
Yeah,
You know,
back
in
to
that-
traveling again.
Back to traveling. She's going to see Coldplay. I don't want
awesome
to say
live.
going to see. She's working the Coldplay shows that are playing off in Mexico, I think, next week. And then, we just saw Dua Lipa at the Forum. I don't know if you guys are hip to Dua Lipa, but she's quite a famous pop star. She's amazing. And we saw her. And then on my birthday, we're going to see Billie Eilish at the Forum.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I'm
you were
really
saying that
excited
on
to go see
Tuesday. You mentioned that on Tuesday.
Dude, yes. And I'm
I
really
see-
excited. So yeah, she's pumped. Shows are
That's
back.
awesome. I see Pearl Jam's touring.
Pearl Jam's touring. Yeah, everybody. It's like the floodgates have opened and everybody wants to tour now. So you're going to
Yeah.
see a lot of.
Even the people that said they were done touring, I'm seeing a lot
Right.
of them pop up.
Like,
Yep.
well, we should do one more. One more probably tour. Yeah.
Yeah. One more farewell tour on top of the 10
Great.
we've already done. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all like Tom Brady saying he's retired and then he comes
Yeah.
back.
And then not so much.
Speaking of that, did you hear about
here.
the guy? Probably not. I don't know if anybody here follows football, and I barely do. But there was a guy who spent $500,000 on what was supposed to be Tom Brady's final touchdown pass, like that football. Spent $500,000 on this football, bought it. Tom Brady came out of retirement the next day. Utterly worthless football. Just another football. Just another football.
Another football. Well, that's the thing. It's like, you remember, is anybody old enough in here to remember Beanie Babies?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay. I don't think I need to say anything else.
Yeah.
They retired.
remember-
How many times did they retire that dragon one? They retired that thing like 50 times.
I
at
remember
least.
there was a news article about a divorce hearing where they were in the courtroom, this man and woman getting divorced, splitting up the Beanie Babies, on the
Yeah.
courtroom floor, splitting up the Beanie Babies because they were going to be so valuable.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Future.
you get the shamrock one, the bear.
Yeah.
You get the-
You get the dolphin.
don't keep your paws off my octopus.
Yeah. Beanie Babies.
I get the crab.
Yeah, I remember Beanie Babies. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing about collectibles, right? Is
Yeah.
It's a chance. You take a chance.
to someone out there, some of those Beanie Babies are still worth $1 million.
I'm
And-
sure there are.
There's
Yeah.
people like me that look at a Beanie Baby and I don't give a damn about it.
Yeah.
It's
I don't care.
$2 stuffed animal that I saw a billion of when I was a kid.
There's
But
even
we get our first vape. You see your first ever vape device. Your first mech. You see one for someplace and you don't have it anymore, and you'll spend a fortune on getting that old retro vape that costs like $50 brand new.
right. Well,
Yeah.
Vape stuff doesn't. There's not a lot of vape stuff outside of like maybe billet box stuff. Maybe some real high end stuff that will retain its value. But like, I ran into a dude
slip up.
in like 2019, must have been 2018 maybe, at a vape show, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I have all these Avid Life mech mods that I paid hundreds of dollars for that
Right
aren't
here.
valuable anymore." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you thought that copper mech mods would be valuable forever,
Yeah.
but that's just not the way that's going to work."
Yeah.
Especially,
I've got an Apollo. That's the oldest one I have.
I mean, maybe they'll make a big comeback, or maybe Avid Life will have, I don't know. But
There you go.
Yeah, there
Cotton
you
Candy
go.
Workman, right there.
Yeah.
I mean, they still hit real good, so keep them polished. And
I've got.
Yeah, they still-
I do have a
they
collection, and
still
they're
hit
all
great.
rares. 1 of 10. Distressed flag. That's my
whether
favorite.
they retain monetary value to some.
It's got value to
whoever,
me because
has
it's
value to you.
mine.
Yeah.
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 Right here, actually, I broke out the stack tube because of the other day with Nick. I wanted mine to be bigger, so I got the 26-650 stack tube, the Chubby Able. That's an
Oh,
AV.
yeah.
So
Stack those
I got my
26
Steve,
650s.
it lasts all day long though. This is a great desktop mod. It really is.
Yeah.
It is, except that mine falls over all the time.
I mean, I absolutely.
I
love
don't
it.
like this.
Falling over.
This is what I hate about it. Because it's so heavy with the batteries in it, you have to shut that off every time. So you can't just, like the
it
regular
up and
AV, you
vape
can't
it.
set it down and vape it. You got to play with the button,
Oh yeah.
unlock it.
Yeah. You set it down and it just
fires. It'll fire.
it just
Yeah.
fires.
Certain mechs and certain mods, certain things. I mean, reminds me of friends and events too. You know.
Oh, definitely, Abby, definitely. That's what this reminds me of. This reminds me of that one ECC, and I remember it so vividly. Plus, I just like that stacked tube mechs exist.
This is over a $500 setup
Great.
retail value.
I posted that on Instagram the other day, and I was like, "It's an e-cig." And I'm like, that's just so funny to me.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that's what passed. When you posted that picture up, it goes, I didn't know what it was. Like Logan actually mentioned this. He had to he wasn't 100% sure what it was when he first saw the name. I didn't either until he posted up the pictures this week on Tuesday, bro. TBN when you posted it. Saw that, I go, wow, are we vaping back in 2013, 2014 again, or what?
Yeah.
That's what we were telling Logan. It's like the CE4s and the freaking and the Ganger stuff would vape better than that stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely would. Those, Theomizer would vape better than those. Has anybody tried the View Solo recently? Because it might be able to help some people. I don't want to completely discount it, but it's not great.
I have a thing about all of this. We're spoiled. We're all looking through the lens of having
privilege.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're all white men sitting here in this panel for one, but we're all used to really great vapes. Really great vapes. We've all had really great vapes. To somebody who's never had a vape or an e-cigarette before, that View Solo just might do it.
It might.
I mean, what did you quit with in 2008, Nick?
I had a what finally put me over the edge was a DSE 901 kit. Nope, didn't think so. It's just
wasn't that the thread? The 901 was the thread, wasn't it?
901 was just the threading. It was basically a 510 atomizer that I would drip 2 drops on, take like 4 to 5 pulls, drip 2 drops on, take like 4 to 5 pulls. And I would carry like 6 stick batteries with me throughout the day, a spare atomizer, a little bottle of liquid in a little like cigarette case because it could all kind of fit in there, back pocket.
You were committed. You were committed to quitting. Though. That's obvious. You had a commitment there.
And so here's the thing: I'm not shining some golden beacon of hope on the View Solo or the Logic Sigalite.
It could work,
but
some people.
There are countless people that quit with products long before these great vapes existed. You being one of them, Addy being one of them.
Right.
So
it is possible.
I don't want to shit on these products too hard because they do absolutely have the potential to help people quit. The issue I have is that we can very much do better.
Way better.
We have done way better. Yes.
Way better. We've already done way better.
But I think a lot of us look through it as the lens of
you're right.
That's absolutely outdated. It sucks. No one uses it. Whatever.
It does suck. I mean,
but
I'm not going to discount the suckness of it. To somebody who's never vaped, but I think
never been spoiled with the,
I think it takes a certain kind of person with a certain kind of mindset to power through with a View Solo. Like I would have powered through with a View Solo. I would have been the person that got a View Solo and went, okay, what else? Like instantly look for something else. What else is out there?
Absolutely.
Right. Yep. But there's going to be people that, there's people now who try good modern vape stuff and it doesn't stick for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's going to be the people that have like, I've never tried an e-cig. Let's try a View Solo. And it's not, they'll go through 2 cartridges or whatever, and then they'll go, okay, no, probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm in agreement, and we can absolutely do better. But, I think any approvals are good things.
It's in a positive direction. Positive direction.
Same. I agree. Plus, it legitimizes the technology more.
Yeah. And eventually, FDA is going to run out of arguments against everything else.
Yes, 100%.
We keep hoping that'll happen like tomorrow, but tomorrow because next day.
What's let me float a question out there for the panel. What's everybody's sort of first impressions of Dr. Robert Califf, our new head of the FDA? Has anybody seen his tweets or his messaging?
I didn't like that tweet. No,
I don't like some of his tweets so far.
We are talking about the same Califf that tried to get a flavor ban into the original deeming regs. So
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
He set the tone with his very first tweet as commissioner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to.
I
I want to
want
like
to
him.
like
I
him.
want someone in there, but
I'm
I
trying to
can't.
engage him as politely as I possibly can.
Me too.
I've just
Really
avoided
politely.
engaging with him.
Just have to be really polite.
Yeah.
It seems how we're on a live and we're not actually messaging him directly. I would like to politely suggest a way of saying it without saying it. Pull your head out of your ass. So just
Right,
sorry,
yeah.
but yeah.
Well, I mean, and on the internet, it's hard to distinguish tones sometimes. So you can write politely like, "Hello, Dr. Califf. I noticed that you don't like disinformation." But in your head, you're going, "Oh, hello, fucking Dr. Robert Califf, period."
Yeah.
I've noticed, so you can you can vent in your head while typing politely.
Or even verbally, if you want to, you can verbally say it like you're talking to him. Just make sure that it sounds good on, text. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't, I haven't really engaged with Dr. Califf. Previous FDA commissioners have blocked me on Twitter in the past. So
I didn't get blocked. Gottlieb didn't block me ever.
Gottlieb blocked me.
Gottlieb blocked you?
And now you have him on your
Say.
microphone.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not
go to it.
discounting the idea that I could have been muted.
Oh, see, I'm a big fan of the mute button. I actively mute people.
Do you?
I don't hand out badges, so I don't block people. I don't give people the badge of honor that Logan blocked. No, I just mute you and I stop acknowledging your existence on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm a big fan of the mute button. But yeah, Gottlieb blocked me a long time ago.
I was kind of surprised he never blocked me. I really, really surprised.
And I don't think I really ever engaged poorly with Gottlieb.
Yeah,
I think that I ended up on a list of like Gottlieb, Scotty, you should block these accounts. Here's a list. And that's what I think I ended up on. So
Yeah. How did Nick not wind up on that list though?
I'm
How?
still
I
not
don't
blocked. Yeah, not blocked.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he's a big fan of Star Wars. He likes the next.
Yeah, he could be a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
I used to try to get his attention on Twitter because he used to be a big fan of like printed socks and like cool fancy-ish socks. And I was the same way. I had a bunch of cool socks, so I'd always try to take pictures of socks. And like, you ever want to talk about socks? If you don't want to talk about vaping, we don't have to. We can talk about socks.
Hey, look at these socks. I have a vape on them, and
Dr. Gottlieb.
He kind of fascinates me because, man, he is one slick son of a gun.
He is.
Oh my
He is real
God.
slick. He is real slick, and he's real deliberate with his. I mean, and he speaks well. He's a good public speaker.
And he gets out there. He's out there all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that drives me crazy, and this can be said about just about any previous FDA commissioner or whatever, is when they're asked for comment on the FDA or what the FDA is currently doing, and you're like, listen, dude, you're talking to a board member for Pfizer right now about
I
what
know
the
it.
FDA is doing.
yeah.
Like we need to not take Gottlieb's word right now as
Yeah.
gospel to what the FDA is doing. Like, there's no reason to be reaching out to this man for comment on this stuff. If Gottlieb wants to tweet his own thoughts into the Twitterverse or whatever, cool.
And make no doubt about it, I'm stepping down because I want to spend more time with family. And 2 weeks later, he's on the freaking board.
Yeah.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah. But that's like,
well.
we were surprised, but it's like, did anybody else know that? Or did, I don't know. I don't know that if I wasn't
how did he
involved
get
with
in
vaping,
there?
I don't know that I would know the ins and outs of who's the head of the FDA and when.
Oh yeah. I think your average everyday American
Isn't going to
give
know that Scott Gottlieb went from Big Pharma to the head of the FDA, right back to Big Pharma.
and they don't care.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing that we've normalized or just
Yeah,
allowed to let happen.
I kind of liked it when I was just dumb about the government and I thought they cared about us, and now it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss. Anything to go back to that.
I know it.
There's parts of it, yes, but then you're the person like many vapors here that we have high numbers. We have all the people that are using, the disposables and everything. They never really get into it. Don't get into legislation. And then they go in one day, he can't get that anymore. Why can't I get it? I don't understand. You don't want to be that ignorant though. So
Yeah, I think absolutely people need to be informed for sure. But I think of parents, I can't stand the parent argument. Parent your kids better, How many of us smoked while we were teenagers?
Yeah.
My
Same.
parents weren't awful people.
Yeah.
My parents did a pretty good job or whatever. So it's like, I don't blame parents. I hate the argument, but I think of how busy parents are and how much time between school and work and sports and this and dinner and that and whatever to sit down and really inform yourselves on such a niche topic.
Right. Yeah.
Like I'm just like, can we not, like, I don't blame parents. I blame the FDA. I blame the CDC. I blame the public health institutions who aren't doing a good job at disseminating the truth to the public. That's who I blame. I don't blame the parents that have 2 minutes to read a trending topic on Twitter while they're waiting to pick up their kid from
no, and now
grade.
you have to have the parents that both of them work. It actually is a little more difficult because you almost have to have two incomes make do with the way taxes are nowadays. Taxes alone make it so you almost have to have two income household.
Yeah, most parents, most everyday parents don't have the time, the energy, or whatever, to become, experts on nicotine and vaping and what is happening, things like that. Like we can't blame parents. You just can't. You want to blame somebody, you point the fingers at the institutions that are behind all of it.
So I have a question. Like, I'd like to know who some of your favorite Twitter people are. Because sure, I probably follow most of them, but I mean, for me, I don't know, like Clive Bates.
Gardner. Actually, I really enjoy listening, watching Mallory when she goes
Mallory, Amanda Wheeler.
American Vapor Manufacturer Association, obviously, American Vaping Association, Greg Connolly.
Yeah, Connolly, Rodu.
I mean, I follow
Wodak.
So of them, Alec Wodak's a
gotta follow Wodak.
Person
to follow. Sheila from DPA is fantastic to follow. DPA in general is fantastic.
DPA in general.
Alex Norsha is a really good one to follow.
Yeah.
Colin Mendelsohn.
Danielle.
Yeah.
Danielle.
Yeah, Danielle. Obviously, everybody from CASA, Matt and Jim and Alex, Julie. Everybody from CASA.
Occasionally, this Grim Green guy, he says some kind of interesting stuff once in a while.
I use my Twitter.
Sometimes it's actually funny too. He uses a little humor in some of his.
I still follow Jerome Adams.
I do actually still follow Jerome Adams.
I really miss the daily tweets to Jerome Adams from Dimitri.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dimitri,
I remember that.
Just trolled that guy like crazy. For sure, he was muted 8 seconds into that first conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we all got to see it, so it was fun anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of great people on Twitter, just across the harm reduction spectrum.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, I'm just gonna spam the crap out of the chat there, Tim. Sorry.
Oh, go for it. Yeah. Do you have a link to the video Nick did? He did that standalone video you did recently, the advocacy video. That was a really good one. A couple weeks ago, couple 3 weeks ago.
Advocacy video.
Yeah, it wasn't actually a live. He put out the other one.
don't even have. I have such a bad memory. I don't even know what that could be.
I don't remember which one it was. I remember watching it. Go, oh, this is pretty good. I gotta remember that for when we finally get on. And
every now and again, I still make the vlog, but I'm a real bad friend, man.
Yeah,
I don't watch a lot of YouTube videos.
No, that's fine. I never expect
real bad
people
friend.
to watch, all my content consistently.
I do the best I can, but I won't deny sometimes the bunny just gets so complacent because she absolutely loves hearing her friends. Like everybody on this panel, she will fall asleep to, listening to.
Sure.
And she likes to lay down with me on the couch. Well, before you know it, I'm snoring halfway through your vlog half the time. I wake up at the end. It's like, oh, I missed some of it.
Oh,
So Tim,
Cool.
your wife says, was it the terms of vaping part 1?
Yes, that is the one.
oh,
Yes.
yeah. That wasn't.
Yeah.
That was. I was confused. That wasn't advocacy based, but yeah, that was a. That was
Well,
an
yeah, it was
idea
a-
I had that took me forever to try to attempt to execute, and I didn't even cover. There's still a lot of terminology. out
percentage
there
of what
that's
you
weird,
wanted.
but like, I was getting a lot of consistent emails and comments about like just that, like confused people who didn't know what mech meant, who didn't know what boro meant, who didn't know what RTA meant, like brand new vapors. And we've been doing this so long that we don't necessarily make it easy.
I remember
Like,
the
oh,
first
yeah,
time.
just take your RTA, put it on your mod, make sure you have high amp batteries. And they're like, "What? I'm sorry." Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I want to try to have something out
I
there. that was
downloaded
like,
the. I remember
maybe a
downloading
little
a
bit helpful.
dictionary, a vape dictionary, back when I first started, because I'd hear things at the shop.
Yeah.
People were trying to explain things to me, like, what? And when I first started vaping,
It's like, have you ever tried squonking? It's like,
what's
wait,
what's
might as
what's
well.
that? It sounds like a duck. What is that?
And it's funny too, like terms have changed over the years. you
Terms
know?
have changed. Yeah.
When was the last time you saw an atomizer get called an RSA?
All right.
Right,
Well, look,
right.
recently I've reviewed an R.
Really?
Something that was
I
marketed.
thought
as
that
an
was a term that we had
RSA.
long abandoned.
No, that's it.
What
I
about a
have not heard it either.
BFRDA? Have you recently
BFRDA?
reviewed a
Oh, wow, that's been a
BFRDA?
while.
No, not a BFRD.
One of those bottom feeders.
Well, there's a whole market segment that kind of just went away. That was the mod pod.
Yeah,
The mod pod is kind of not a thing anymore.
yeah,
It's like it's either an AIO or a pod.
yeah. I think Smoke is like one of the few companies trying to keep it alive.
A mod pod.
Yeah,
The mod pod.
yeah.
Oh, Jim McDonald. Got to mention Jim.
Oh yeah, Jim McDonald.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Jim vaping 360. Absolutely.
Jim McDonald vaping 360.
Janine Timmons.
Janine is
Janine
fantastic.
rules.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody here in chat who's on Twitter, they all rule.
Yeah, Mallory Gates, who's in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Mallory's been she's been very active lately, and that's really good. I don't know. I hit for starters, my new phone keeps on trying to post to a secondary Twitter account attached to my first, but it's not my first. So that's been an issue lately. I'm trying to figure out.
Shit.
I keep saying I'm gonna deep dive and fix it, but when you're on as many shows as I have been lately a week, it's time is different. Plus, I always try to make the vlog. I try to make certain people's shows. It gets to be a lot.
Man,
Here in chat, everybody go follow Paul. Paul's great.
yeah.
Well,
I got Paul's link too. Yep, Capta.
Yeah, Cafra, absolutely.
Make
Yeah,
sure
I
you're
mean,
following
And
Kasa.
you can just go right over to Inco too, and Inco has a list of consumer organizations. That's what Inco is.
yeah.
From around the world that you can absolutely follow too, not just to keep up with things going on here, but things going on in low and middle income countries and just around the world. Yeah. The International Network of Nicotine Consumer Organizations.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
Why do
yeah.
we
If
all
you're not,
have to have such long acronyms? It's like when I tell people about CASA and they're like, "Oh, what is CASA?" And I'm like, "Well, let me tell you, we're the consumer advocates for, Smoke-Free Alternatives Association." And it's just
And they're like-
it doesn't roll off the tongue very
No.
well.
You have to inhale first.
take
Yeah,
3
so-
breaths to spit it all out. Yep.
Yeah, lots of long acronyms. It's funny, a little while ago, me and my little one were talking about acronyms. She had brought something up about it, in school and stuff. And I said, "Well, do you know what ACAB stands for?" And she goes, "No, what's ACAB stand for?" And I said, "It stands for All Cats Are Beautiful." And so my little 8-year-old is sitting in the back seat, bouncing up and down, going, "ACAB, ACAB." And then I had to break it down, and I told her, I said, "No, honey, I'm messing with you. You don't need to go around saying that. It stands for all cops are bastards." And she goes, "Oh, well, that's true too."
That's true too.
My heart. I'm raising a good one, you guys.
That's true too. And then next time they'll be in the car saying Frank and Beans, 'cause,
Yeah. Well, at least she has something to fall back on. If she ever says ACAB in school, her teachers get, "You know what that means, right?" She goes, "Yeah, all cats are beautiful." Exactly.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah. Teach her the down low side of it. Good idea. You know?
But yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. When it comes to if you're really curious about organizations around the world, head to INCO, because that's the hub. That is the hub of all of them.
Yep.
And
that is something we get are so absorbed in ours so often because of the state, local, federal, all over the place. Like a lot of countries don't understand how intricate our legislative system is as far as how many levels. And then we sometimes get absorbed so much we almost miss some of the stuff that goes on. Like, well, for one, Breestone was in chat here. I don't know if he's still here, but the work he did overseas, that's, when they really needed to push that against that, was it a bill, right? That's a bill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They banned.
I'm trying to remember if it's still called a bill. I just wasn't sure if it was.
Recreational nicotine in Australia. And they're on a really awful prescription model now. Labworth is here. Paul's from Australia. Australia.
And like he was saying about the getting a prescription for snus and stuff like that. Yeah. It's like, that's crazy. Yeah, and all you want to do is harm reduction.
We're pretty low on the totem pole, really, as far as our smoking prevalence at this point in the world. 80% of the world's people who smoke are in low and middle income countries. They are not in first world they're not Americans. They're not from the UK.
Look at India, India.
Yeah, that's really where you want to talk about a stalemate of a smoking rates going down. It's just not. That's where most of the smoking is.
Or here we are. We're getting to the point where it's getting such a low percentage, it's harder to get rid of it. The last part's the hardest to get rid of, because as long as it exists at all, it's hard to get rid of that low number. But back like when Addie was in school and it was at like 40%, well, that's pretty easy to bring down, like almost 50% of your population.
It's wild. I think, I don't know. Now there might have been a year or two where the drops were significantly bigger, but if I'm not wrong, the biggest drop in smoking prevalence in U.S. history was right after the Surgeon General's report in 1964. That was like the biggest immediate drop that we saw in smoking prevalence when that report came out, when there was like actual first, public evidence that these products cause cancer and will kill you. A lot of people quit. A lot of people quit.
There we go. Surgeon General. I remember one or two vlogs about this subject in this particular position before too. The Surgeon General? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's at this point, I think the Surgeon General is more of a mouthpiece than anything, but at one point in time, that was a big deal. I mean, it's still a big deal, but
I still remember Greg Conley handed him a copy of the Royal College of Physicians report.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I used to have that bookmarked. It used to be in my bookmarks bar, like on Chrome, because I used it so frequently. I clicked to it so frequently.
Yeah, Addie, he put some serious work in that. Have you actually done any updates on that lately? Your harm reduction links and information. When's the last time you hopped into those, Graham?
What's that? Oh, on my website?
Yeah.
I go and they're still pretty current. There's some stuff I'd like to change. It's just, I try to, cultivate it as best I can. But when it comes down to it, if the CASAD information resource, library is
more
really, really well done and very up to date. And
we update it regularly.
I try to get people to go there firstly.
And I've noticed over the past 2 years, CASAD's taken a big jump at actually getting even fresher on the information. Like really.
I think before it was just how abhorrent the old CASA site was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
CASA, the CASA.org website pre-Danielle making it what it is today looked like something you'd run on Windows 98. It really, it just really was not. It
Welcome to Norton Commander.
and it was clunky. Things were not easy to find. It wasn't as well organized as it is today. Yeah, Danielle has worked tirelessly and continues to update the site and just make it easier, more streamlined, and yeah, and she does a phenomenal job for sure.
Very much so.
Yeah, I still remember chatting with Danielle, and she was terrified to meet Ruby Roo, and now that was years and forever ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
I miss that girl.
Yeah.
I remember talking to these guys in just like Nick's chat. I'd be talking to Logan in there and getting some advice, and then eventually was talking to him one-on-one, talking to you a little one-on-one, Nick, and then eventually Addie as well, and getting into the whole advocacy scene. And it was like, because Logan and I started about the same time, but from different angles, because your harm reduction thing is not just limited to just the vape scene. So it's like, and I agree with 99.9% of everything you say is right on par with me, and those minor things I don't care about. So it's like, but then
I mean, harm reduction is just radical love, man. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
Just radical love, man. That's all it is. I just care about people. That's it.
Yeah, well, that's a tough.
Something I did want to bring up to everybody
days.
here. There's one more topic I did want to get to before we get too far toward the end here. You mentioned this on Tuesday. I like the idea. I just want to put it out there and see what everyone else had to think about it, Nick. What about doing something similar to what Mexico did? Some smaller rallies at the same time period.
Yeah.
What is the possibility here?
I mean, look, that's been my going advocacy idea for a little while. It's just going to take a lot of time and energy to execute properly with a lot of people on board to do it, you know.
Exactly.
And it would have to be
the right people,
more regimented than I could possibly be. But, you know, because it's going to require like
a lot of planning.
And, you know, in a lot of cases, things like permits.
Yep.
Sure.
So
it's definitely going to take funding. I think a good resource for this, if it were ever to, you know, become a viable thing, would be CASA, because we have 50 state groups.
Yeah.
Which would be a great platform to try to help organize people. But again, you know, you got to get people all over the place organized. You have to have good people.
You got to pick a day. It's got to be a far off day that works for a lot of people, so we can make a bigger impact.
Make plenty of plans and hope everything works out too, and don't have some kind of situation.
And even if they don't, even if we get 40, even if we get 30, even if we get 20.
Yeah, because it'll still get picked up if we're doing it all over the world.
If we don't get South Dakota in the mix, you know.
Yeah, it's like
no offense.
South Dakota. Oh, that's it. There's a big loophole in the middle of the country. We can't miss South Dakota.
Yeah, we call that the loophole state.
Yeah.
That's the tide bend. If we can get South Dakota, we got it. We got it. If we get South Dakota.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's viable. It like you said, that's a whopper of an undertaking.
It is, but I mean, is it something we should really try and look into? I mean, it sounded. I like that idea. The DC rallies, actually, even though the second one was not as because of the situation going on in the world, Nick and I were there, and it was not the first rally by far, but it was definitely, you know, showed some commitment, and I actually really proud to be a part of that one. So one thing I think too, which I think would honestly be more achievable, you know, COVID kind of has stopped a lot of gatherings and whatnot, but I think it's still a viable option. And we should do what they did in the 80s. You know, we should do what ACT UP did and go sit down at the FDA. That's what I think we should do. I think we should do what AIDS activists did and go sit down at the FDA.
Yeah. Look, I like this idea. Where's the FDA building?
FDA is in
Virginia.
Can I look on the
Virginia? Yeah.
I don't mind this idea at all. I mean,
search.
I don't know about anyone else, but I felt the itch to kind of gather again. It's like we've had held up so long and unable to gather.
I mean, I haven't been arrested in a long time.
Exactly.
Me neither, Eddie.
Me neither, Eddie. There we go.
Listen, the last time I got arrested, the cops were nice enough to take me out of cuffs so I could smoke a cigarette. So
Brady Stones, I have not heard much from
maybe
them.
the next batch will be nice enough to let me take a vape break.
Yep.
Before we go into book,
With that taser like right here, you know.
yeah,
Am I gonna get on a list if I
yeah.
get
Is it
God
worth
forbid
it?
I'm in a park or whatever. But,
FDA
yeah.
bill?
Yeah, in a park. If you're getting tased, you're still gonna be able to vape.
They're
That's the
in
question.
Maryland. They're in Maryland.
Maryland.
Oh, it's in
FDA
Maryland?
headquarters is Silver
Okay.
Spring, Maryland.
So we
Yeah.
have to go to
Not
Silver
so
Spring,
bad for us,
Maryland.
Addy. A little bit rough for Nick. But
Listen, I've slept on friends' couches in Maryland before. I will do it again. We can go. We can.
There's
go
a nice
out.
boardwalk there right here.
But that's the thing, I'm down for rallies. I'm down for things like that, and that's what we need to do. We need to, I don't know, be more, aggressive with our activism, and not aggressive in like a violent way, but more aggressive in general with our
Getting
activism.
attention,
I think something
getting
like
ground.
that is. We really need to have a good show of numbers too, which is what the second rally suffered. But that was right at the beginnings really of COVID.
hey, I learned some new calisthenics during that second rally. So
Yeah, you're welcome for that. I taught you.
But how do we make an impact if we go to the Food and Drug Administration? If we sit on the steps of the building, how do we make an impact? Do we all smoke cigarettes? What do we do?
I mean, that's a good question, really. I mean, we
Just sit there
rally.
and blow vape clouds, have people speak.
yeah. Just vape all the black market products that we can find.
Every black market product.
yeah, I'm sure that'll end extremely well. Like you said, we haven't been arrested so yet.
But I mean, it's not illegal to vape black market products.
No, that's
just
actually
illegal.
true. It's illegal to purchase them or sell them.
No, it's not illegal to.
Oh no, it's not purchase.
It's illegal to
selling it.
manufacture and sell. Yeah, whatever. But regardless, I mean, I definitely, I don't know what the answer is. I think there's a lot of ways that we could step it up for sure, and that's just an idea. Again, just piggybacking off of advocates in the past, and what worked for them to some degree, at least to raise public awareness. That's the thing too, is like, if we, we're not going to win every battle against institutions, but if we can turn the tide in the court of public opinion,
Yeah.
Exactly.
that's a
Yeah.
big deal. And that's what things like that can do.
Yeah.
When media coverage is on, a massive group of people, who are being, oppressed or otherwise or whatever, that's a way to win the court of public opinion. And that holds a lot of sway
Yeah, it does.
as far
I
as
agree.
policymakers and things like that go as well. That can really hold a lot of sway. And unfortunately, we're not in favor right now, of public opinion.
And it's went that way even worse since there haven't been gatherings. There haven't been abilities to do this kind of thing. You've seen it kind of fade away the wrong way. That's why I'm thinking a good push back and being a little bit more proactive with it. Like I said, not going crazy, but once in a while, you got a little extra time, go to CASA, message your legislation.
Yeah.
Let them know you're there so that they're not thinking, oh, this is just a bunch of bots trying to push for this bill. Let them know you're there all the time, occasionally, here and there.
Yeah, we tell people all the time, it is always a good time to reach out to your lawmakers. Always.
It's never not a bad time.
I know now that I'm retired,
That means the same thing.
I'm anxious for my representatives to start traveling again.
Yeah.
I got good old
Then-
Bernie. I got good old Bernie in over here. Yay.
Nice.
Oh, we could win Bernie over. If
We
could
could.
win
I think
Bernie
we could.
Sanders over.
I think
He's
we could.
approachable.
He would be on board with this. He'd be like, harm reduction, perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Less money going into medical facilities and such and healthcare. Yes, let's do this. Now, if you can that's the point you got to get to him. That it'll actually reduce healthcare costs. Okay, I'm on
I'm
board.
telling you, that Progressive Policy Institute thing that I put in the chat, I can put it again, is great.
Yep.
It is great.
No thanks, Mallory. You can have Palone too.
Hey, you guys at least got rid of one.
Dude. No thanks, Ohio.
Logan and Addie, you got rid of one. You got rid of one. You just got a few more that got to go. But you got rid of one big one. One that I have never liked his dad, didn't like him. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
It's a step in the
New
right
boss
direction.
is about the same as the old boss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah. That's the
That's like, yay, we got rid of Cuomo. We have Hochul.
you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think
You know, she
being-
reads from the same playbook. I mean, it's
Yeah. Oh, look at, I got to meet the president. Look at.
yeah, it's a different face to the tweets and all that and what, you know, but it's all the same thing.
That's why we
She
got to
was,
try and
Thanks,
persuade
Rob.
She
and
was
get some of
basically
them, some of the ones that were speaking up before that occasionally. I know Nick, you'd point out a few in your stream. I saw some of them when I was at New Hampshire and Vermont. There's a few that will speak up for vape in a slight contingency, but they won't actually full out go because it's not popular opinion. We need to change that popular opinion, like you said, get a little bit more of the public involved on the positive trend, because that'll actually create a better spot for us.
And I think we need to. I think one thing that would help is educating people about nicotine. It's not that
Hey, Mick.
bad, and like it's been demonized for so long because it's been married to cigarettes for so long.
Yeah.
You know, but if we can, you know, destigmatize it, I think that'd be a really helpful thing too.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know,
But more and more
Yeah, I mean-
science is coming out all the time.
Could you just
Yeah,
imagine if we had like open, honest drug education across the board?
We live in a different world,
Imagine,
completely different world.
you know? Imagine if we didn't tell kids that LSD would make you grow bat wings and try to fly off of buildings. But we don't.
Oh yeah, that actually happened.
It's all, you know, it is like the age-old reefer madness, satanic panic.
Mm-hmm.
That is
The-
that is very much the world we still live in with any drug, whether it's nicotine or heroin or cocaine. I mean, you name it. That's
I was napping with the bunny, and literally I heard on the TV whatever movie she was watching, and welcome Governor Cuomo, and the middle finger went straight up to the TV out of a dead sleep. It's like, no. Just two names you can't say. Can't say Cuomo, can't say Bloomberg. I will wake
I
up.
hear he has like a new podcast or something. Cuomo. Some kind of show, some kind of something that
Cuomo
he's
has a
doing now.
podcast?
Yeah, something like that. It's like some kind of show or podcast.
Who's
Or,
Is
Oh,
it
God.
called
Cuomo
is it
he's
is
still
it
Cuomo being Cuomo, you know?
is
Cuomo's
it
got
called A
Cuomo,
Million
yeah.
Deaths and I'm
I don't know
responsible?
what it's called. Yeah.
That sad state of affairs, you know, to be loved following him.
Yeah, it's I don't know. What not to do with retirement homes and
Yeah.
Yeah, Bree Stone's good one too.
yeah, it's you know how not to
Oh.
talk to women in the workplace, things like this, you know.
Taking deep
Real
breaths.
great content from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, either way.
Maybe you shouldn't do this, but I did, and it was cool. No. Yeah.
But I did. It was cool.
Shouldn't touch your secretary's house.
But it's like what did he say the one time, like said something about how like, oh, I'm just Italian. Like that's somehow like that's such a New Yorker thing,
Oh.
which like I kind of love, but I also hate at the same time.
Or
It's
like the
no, it wasn't sexual. I'm just Italian.
I'm just
you know?
Italian. Yeah.
That makes it all okay.
or makes a
Andy.
public speech about vaping and says, "But so what?" It's like,
Yeah,
what?
no,
He how did he get away with that? I mean,
It seems
anyone
like
anywhere should have been able to get through that and realize
seems-
that this guy, just trying to keep on.
it seems like a lot
Yeah,
of his
I will
excuses
forever-
were like, well, yeah, I've kind of just always done that. You know, what's
Yeah.
so bad?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Just Italian.
What do you mean? I'm just
just-
kind of just always done that.
Yeah, I'll never get that clip out of my head just because Nick played it like 4 bajillion times.
Bajillion times, yep.
Vaping safer than smoking?
Is better than
Technically, yes.
smoking.
But so
But
yeah,
so
but
what?
even the first time I
Yes.
saw that, I could not believe
So what?
that he
Sure.
admitted it, and everybody's just like, "Okay, we're still gonna help ban it." Okay, what?
Yeah. But so
Nobody called him out on that. But so
But
what is
so-
a technical enough answer to appease the masses?
what? Yeah. This is the governor of New York, like, but so what?
Yeah.
Hey, I tell
Yeah,
you, in the
finish it.
Adirondack,
Lansky,
Oh,
damn.
shit.
So what? Here's my thought on
in
it.
the Adirondacks, we never considered him our governor, even though it didn't work on paper. But
Yeah, that doesn't.
Yeah,
work.
that doesn't.
yeah, too
Yeah,
bad that
I
doesn't
wanna tell you-
translate.
Governor, not
Bernie
my
Sanders.
president. Well, unfortunately,
Yeah,
you know, I
incorrect.
don't mean to burst bubbles, but
So you guys all know Lumi, like Lumi streams, right?
Yep.
You guys know Lumi?
Oh yeah,
Mate,
yeah.
I might know
Maybe.
her. Yeah.
She made me this build stand.
Oh, look at that.
is cool.
It's got a tuna fish can in there, and shells, and some of my old coils in there. How freaking cool is that?
Those.
It's got a tuna fish in there.
That's amazing.
I don't know exactly what that alien's doing, but you might know what it's like, Logan. It's got this cool little leaf on the side of it.
I got a Lumi.
Ooh.
Yeah, you got one. You got one similar to this. Yep.
Bearded. Oh, cool.
That's
awesome.
the other thing.
Awesome.
That's the other thing.
Child.
To celebrate things like that, all the cool stuff. Do you remember all the customizable mods that used to be out? All of them had those customized plates and different rings and stuff for like the AVs, like the Ables. They used to always have the different sleeves you could put on.
Yep.
We have some of it coming back, and we have like Bearded Customs that does the specialty ones. But I miss that time when we used to just worry more about making it cosmetically pleasing rather than have to just the fact we can even use the
still do
damn
that.
thing.
Yeah, if you
Billet
can even get
boxes.
e-liquid.
Billet boxes. That brought customization back for me. Before, I mean, I got to a point where it didn't really matter. It's like, I'll just use black and stainless steel. It's fine. It's whatever. But billet boxes, well, billet
Yeah,
boxes.
that burnt-
get a
that
little-
burnt
get to be a
Vader
little bit
stand, yeah.
more, you know.
The Jake Scrapwood
Little
stand.
more-
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, customizey and cool.
Yeah, I've gotten into the world of 3D printed stuff.
Oh, cool.
That's what I enjoy right now. I really.
I'm
like
afraid to go down that billet
Yeah.
box rabbit hole because I think I'm going to get killed by the other half if I try. Because it'll eventually become like everything else where I start with, I'll just get one. I got 50.
Yeah,
And
I'm
you
a
win.
your stereotypical vape bro, you know, black and stainless. Give
Millen.
it to me black or stainless, and I'm a happy
Yeah.
camper.
Yeah.
Because then everything I have matches.
White.
And I don't even have to think about it.
You can throw white in the mix, no problem.
Or you can
Yeah.
get the custom Aegis skins like from our friend Jay.
Yeah, custom ages.
My logo on it. Love
yeah,
that.
I've got a Ryzen vape one. An
Yep.
old Ryzen vape one on my Aegis.
Got that one. He sent me this one with it. Oh,
That's a cool one.
But I miss that when we used to celebrate that and not have to. It feels like we're doing less of that because we're so kind of beat down, and that's something else we got to bring back the fun side.
Well, I mean, so much of the market is, you know, in a mass exodus at this point too. That
Yeah, for sure.
a lot of that's tough, you know. And yeah, I mean, I would love to go back to being more concerned about my match game than you know
Yeah.
Exactly.
what is happening in legislation. I think that would be a welcome treat. But
That's for sure.
See,
Yeah,
I'm
unfortunately.
forbidden to go down the billet box rabbit hole, according to her. not just afraid. I'm forbidden.
So Nick's Type 2 found a new home.
I see that.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Oh, on a Lazy Vapors.
Yeah.
I really I had 2 Lazy Vapors mods that I really, really liked.
yeah, I break out my Type 2 every now and again. I still do the troll doll technique. I
Yeah.
think it's tried and true, and it works just
In
fine.
retrospect, I wish I would have done so many things different with this RTA, but it's whatever now. I get why
Yeah.
people release 1.5s. Like, I would like to do a 1.5, but it's just not worth it.
Right. Yeah.
I think
Just-
it came
yeah.
out great.
I do
matter
too.
how-
I
how
love it.
far
I
you
still
get
use it all
along
the
the-
time.
The prototype line. There's always, you know, after people review it and tear it apart on the internet, you go, "Oh, you know what? That would probably been a great idea.
Like, fuck,
Exactly,
damn
Sewer
it.
If only we could all have
well.
a massive think tank while I'm designing products."
Right. I don't have it. Yeah. It was like, it was just me. This was my first just me product.
Right.
So,
I mean, you still did a phenomenal job.
well, thank
It
you.
still vapes like a champ.
I love it. I'm glad
Yeah.
people like it.
Yeah.
So I think Nick's
The
going
only
to
thing
do
with
it.
mine is the top cap, man. My top cap's real tight. I
Is
gotta
it tight?
wrestle.
See, some of
Gotta
mine are pretty
wrestle.
loose. That's a O-ring.
I'd be happy to trade with somebody that's got
There's
like
a,
grommet. We can make a trade.
Have you taken your grommet out and flipped it Let's try to stick it back in, see
Yeah,
if that
it's
helps.
tight, man.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I mean, it's all your fault, obviously.
I know it is.
Yeah.
You manufactured it. You machined it yourself.
Yep.
What were you doing?
Yep.
You know.
I didn't check the tolerance of every top cap before it went
Yeah.
out.
The quality control here was just. You really got to step up your game, Nick. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Say that this was a him-only project.
I know.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
He did say it's a him only project. So apparently he was in there.
Every
he
type
was in
two
there.
that went out the door.
That was
know?
me. Made by hand.
Yeah.
What if we're
Hand machine?
Hand machine.
Hand machine. He didn't even bother with CNC
Just
machine.
spun
He
it
actually
like that.
he machined this with his hands, ground out that metal slowly, just
Yeah,
twisting and
every-
turning it with
Yeah, every one of
ridge.
those grooves on the outside, like that vinyl.
hand
look that-
etched.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah. No.
Speaking of vinyl, I'm happy to see the records on the right side tonight.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
I know that
figured out-
messed me up so bad the other night. It's
I
like
could
no.
not figure out what I had clicked at what time to flip my camera around, and it was driving me insane. And at first, I didn't believe that it was flipped. In fact, until I went live, I didn't believe that it was flipped. Until people were like, "Yeah, it's definitely flipped." It looked kind of normal to me, then it kind of looked flipped, and then I didn't. I eventually got into those preferences and switched it back to normal because that was making me crazy. Crazy.
I will be right back.
No worries.
Okay. I'll be
What
right
did
here.
what did Dwayne have to change on one of his new releases? I remember the videos of him going through. Was it RDA or something?
Oh yeah, what was that?
God, he had to go through like 350
Was
of
it
them
the
or something.
Dang? I think it was the Dang. Was that when
Yeah,
they released
yeah.
the Dang? It might have been the Dang. It might have been the Dang.
Especially depending on what company you are. I know that I've seen some of the inside of it, like when This Is Jack released the Mongrel, and he had to go back and forth
yeah.
and test it. But the shipping time between it would be weeks and weeks and weeks before he could actually give him feedback. That took forever. That literally took
Yeah.
like a year, and it was really something that the company was local. It could have been done in a month.
Yeah. It just takes time and yeah. Patience. And it's like China has pretty good manufacturing. Like they do pretty well, but their quality control isn't great. And there's been some US companies, and I know Signature Tips did this. The first thing that they had machined in China, he hand quality checked
The clutch.
everything that came in, every single one that came in. It was unbelievable. But you kind of have to do that, and because Signature Tips has such a high, quality threshold. It's like Signature Tips quality matters. He hand checked every single one just to make sure.
Yeah, like Mike's new RDA came out, and then the O-rings issue, because those
Yeah,
O-rings
the
apparently
O-rings
they
issue.
replaced the O-rings with a bunch of crap O-rings.
Yep.
So yeah, quality
It's a
control.
bummer.
I mean, and it's unfortunate because in the end, it's harder to get these things. The replacement parts
yeah.
now.
Yep.
And
Oh,
if the
and Nick-
spares are the same quality as the ones that are on it, it doesn't even do good to switch.
Oh, and Nick, I want to say thank you because it warmed my heart for, how we're able to just embrace a memory of Vape and Trucker Thursday. It was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was really great. I didn't know that this was a Vape and Trucker recipe, and I'm glad it was. It worked out really well. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
That is awesome.
And it's a good
yeah.
mix. I really like it. Yeah, Vape and Trucker.
And if you like the cheesecake forward thing, I'll have to send you some of that key lime.
Yeah, I did.
Addie's tried that. He knows that that's good.
Yeah, it's good. I still got some left. Tim's lime cheesecake.
Yeah.
It's
I
very
love this,
cheesecake
Tim's
forward.
lime, Tim's blue.
Yeah.
Well, if you've been watching him on Wendy's show lately, it seems to be kind of a trend going on there lately.
I think
They
Nick's
mixed a
going to
few.
join us on one of these Mondays.
Is he?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. I have a lot of standing in invitations for certain
Yeah.
streams. Like,
Oh, thank you
there's a
for
guy in,
being here tonight
Mexico.
too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a guy in Mexico who's been trying to get me for a while, and it's like on a Friday at a weird time or something. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna pick one. Same thing goes for you guys. It's just we'll pick a date down the road, stick to it, just do it.
That's why I went solo last week, because it's like, even if Addie's wife and him are dealing with some stomach issues, So I definitely didn't want to try and rope him in. And Logan mentioned it. He goes, next week would work better. It's like, you know what? Let's see if we can do that, because then it gives more time for people to plan, think about what they might want to say. And even me trying to figure out, because I just want to I want to see us do more proactive advocacy rather than just, a bill's on the table, let's hurry up and get out, and which is good, but it's also good to, a little bit more public opinion out there is a really big changer.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it on Tuesday about setting up maybe the smaller rallies so that people don't have to travel as far.
Yeah.
That can get noticed. We saw it with Hands Across America. Remember that?
I do. I don't know if I was alive for Hands Across America.
Now I feel older.
I think I was alive for Hands Across America. Okay, in 1986. Yeah, okay.
So I can
was
reassure
9 years
you that
old.
I was not alive for
I
Hands
was 9
Across
years old when Hands Across America happened.
But things like that do tend to get noticed by the media, and we to get any notice from the media that's not negative would be extremely good, because that has not been the case for a while now. I think the last good thing I've seen where we really seemed to get traction was when you were talking about, is it Dr. Drew?
Yeah,
Dr.
Dr.
Drew?
Yeah.
That was the last positive interview thing I've seen with somebody that actually, wasn't.
Yeah. He occasionally says nice things about vaping.
Yeah. That was actually a nice clip. I really enjoyed that clip. Kind of give you the feels.
Yeah. It was a good clip, and he was so matter-of-factly about it, and I just really like that. I want doctors, when they talk about vaping, and I want people, when they talk about vaping, to say it as well, of course this is true.
Yeah.
I want them
not to do the
act there is the scientific consensus that there is.
I hope we don't do that with all TV doctors. That's all. I mean, if we all took Dr. Oz as gospel.
Oh God.
Oh no.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Dr. Yeah, that's a hard stop. But Dr. Drew has credibility. I don't mind it, from people with credibility.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Dr. Oz.
You know what? I would like to find a way to stop this bullshit practice of attaching these bills inside of these omnibuses, especially.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Well, then we need congressional reform for that. I mean, good Lord. Honestly, Toonie, you guys should follow Justin Amash. I was hesitant to throw him out there, but I love Justin Amash. And if you're a person that isn't happy with Congress right now or the way that our system is working, Justin Amash is I think a good voice.
Is he YouTube or Twitter or?
Twitter. He was a congressman for a brief period.
Yeah, he's
Super
very libertarian.
Very libertarian, and he was awesome. I thought for sure, I'm like, this guy's going to be the first libertarian president. If the party could nominate someone, it should be Justin Amash, and he could win.
If the party could just ever get on a debate stage.
If the party could get on a debate stage. Well, that's the thing. It's always trying to. The more votes that we can get, the more of a reality that could be. Because if the LP party gets a certain percentage of the votes, then that grants the LP party access to federal funds, and it would allow them on the stage and stuff like that.
It absolutely would legitimize them. Then they just have to get through the cost barriers that the Dems and
get rid of the two-party system. It was never meant to be a two-party system.
Yeah, and everything is stacked against, and as much as I would love to see, a libertarian on the debate stage, I think at this point I would love to see any third-party candidate.
Yeah, any third
party on a debate stage.
Third party.
Just for the sake of having a third party on the debate stage.
Yeah, I agree.
Even if I disagreed with them to my core,
right,
I would still celebrate seeing anyone
just
else.
Another voice, just maybe a slightly look, I agree. And honestly, what I think we need now that we've talking about politics, I think the Libertarian Party needs a moderate libertarian. We need the Joe Biden of libertarians, because the Libertarian Party's stance is pretty hard on a few things, and it's not a good platform to run on. It's not a
No.
very super compassionate platform. It is, but it isn't, and we need a moderate. And I think, I don't know.
I
That's
can
what
tell
makes
you
me a
the
bad
Libertarian
libertarian.
Party really, really lost me recently with the recent discourse on clean pipes. The Libertarian Party was real, just real disgusting over the discourse
Really,
on
really,
harm reduction funding and things around clean pipes
that upsets me.
yeah, very, very stigmatizing, gross, awful.
I don't like
shit
it.
stance.
You
Yeah.
I'm
saw a lot of
surprised to
people.
see that from the really surprised to see that from any sort of anything that would call themselves libertarian, because the first
Really,
thing with
really.
libertarians is
Well, because
you gotta
it
be
because
good
it
with
was
drugs.
government funded, Nick.
Right.
Yeah. It's just
You know, God
Yes,
forbid we
Hillary.
reduce morbidity and all of these things and reduce
Right.
cost on the healthcare system through really
Right.
simple, pragmatic, very cost efficient programs. That's way above the LP. That's
Yeah.
too much. We've gone too far. You
Yep.
know. So yeah, the LP really really showed some colors and lost me on that one.
Yeah. Well, see, the LP stance is that the drugs shouldn't be illegal in the first place.
Right. But
You
the
know.
LP stance is still that they should be as as harmful as they can possibly be while legal.
Right. While legal.
Yeah. So,
That the drug market would take care of
right,
having
that
things like a safe
capitalism will
supply. Right.
will
That
solve
capitalism
drug
will
debts.
solve drug
Yes.
debts. Yeah.
Yeah.
That the drug market,
Yes.
now that it's legalized,
Yeah.
it's
we'll start
goofy.
putting
This is things
safety
that make me a
child.
bad
We'll
libertarian.
start
It's like-
putting
This is where the LP
putting
loses
childproof
because
caps on their drugs. That way there you don't have to worry about the kids.
even when it comes
Yeah.
to really pragmatic, cost-efficient ways, which harm reduction, like that's a pillar of harm reduction.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
being pragmatic and
Yep.
being practical. That's what a needle, a clean syringe costs? Fractions of a
Point-
penny,
yeah,
like
fraction-
like
yeah,
nothing,
nothing.
almost. But when it comes to things like that, that's too much. That's too far. And I'm like you're really.
But you'll let people share needles and get, transmit viruses and diseases.
That's where the LP really turns me off. I agree with a lot of the LP.
I know. I agree with like 95% of the LP platform.
Yeah, and I do too. And that's like I tell people a lot of times. I agree with a lot of progressives on end goals.
I'm really, same.
When I talk to a progressive about where we need to get to, we agree. It's the
Yeah.
path we choose to get there and how
Yeah.
much government we want involved to get there. That's where we disagree.
Yeah.
Cherokee says Jubbies for president. That'll fix
Jubbies
everything.
for
Juppies
president.
for president.
Jubbies. Derek, I haven't heard from Derek in a while. I miss you, man. I miss Jubbies. I miss Jubbies coming up frequently. Damn it.
Yeah. Jubbies for president. I agree, but that's I think that's that way for a lot of people with across platforms is we tend to agree on this is where we need to be in America. These are the
Right.
problems and the issues we need to solve. It's all about we all disagree on how we solve them.
Yeah. Well, and some of them, it's like, it seems like we're scared to even, like, if I think about homelessness in Los Angeles, which is a huge deal, this is a severe thing here. Everybody's got a different plan for homelessness. And the LP stance on homelessness, while I think it would work, and that is, tear down regulations that prevent low income housing. There's all sorts of like city ordinances and
Red
codes
tape.
that prevent you from tons of red tape. And it's like, yeah, that would work. It's also going to take a long time,
Yeah.
a real long time.
Yeah.
I have faith that it'll work, but it needs to have support for it to work. And, so it's like we're afraid to go in any direction too far, because what if it doesn't work?
Right. I can tell you what doesn't work is tearing down tent cities with bulldozers. and
Yeah,
rovers.
that does not work.
Yeah,
But that's what
like
LA does. That's all LA does is
I know.
shuffle people around, dude.
When I lived in
Well,
an
yeah, they
apartment,
don't
the guy
wanna
that
see
lived,
it. We
the
don't
guy
wanna
lived
see it
below me
here.
used to live in LA and actually was a part of that homeless community, tent community.
Yeah.
And he still had that mentality. He'd stay in his living room all the time, all year round, trying to keep
Yeah.
it cool. And just one room. He never used the rest of the apartment except for to go cook.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the panic in LA now is, well, we have the Olympics coming up that are being hosted in Los Angeles, Summer Olympics.
Yeah.
There will be homeless people on television.
Oh,
I can't see how there won't be. They will be.
I saw that not too long ago. They went through
I guess I don't
this
understand
video
why
on YouTube with
God
going
forbid
through,
we see people who don't have a home.
Yeah.
especially in a
Crazy.
time when a lot of people lost their ability to have a home because of recent events. Even worse so, with the increase in
Yeah.
cost of even food to try and survive, let alone the cost of housing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
It's
Just the global gas prices. If you think it's rough here in the States.
oh yeah, it's not even
Yeah,
bad here
global-
compared
yeah.
to other.
There's a guy that posted in Reddit recently. It was like, "Can you believe this? Gas is $7.50 a gallon." He's like, "Thanks, Joe Biden." Oh wait, I live in Norway.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's the thing too. I think a lot of people forget. Oh, there's an entire global
World.
economy.
There is a
Yeah,
globe.
out there.
Yeah.
Global, yeah.
Outside of
Think
just
outside of your state.
America. Yeah.
That's kind of great. We just had it all tonight. Vape advocacy, politics, homelessness.
Yeah. Well, I mean, vaping's a global issue as well, and you can
Absolutely.
see wins and losses all over the place.
That
The
was one of the
Philippines,
reasons why
Malaysia and
One of the reasons why I picked this
Good.
panel is because this panel is not just worried about just vape advocacy. This panel cares about harm reduction, cares about, bettering people's
radical
lives.
kindness. What did you call
Yeah,
it?
radical kindness, as Logan calls it.
Yeah, it's
Radical
radical love, man.
Radical love.
Radical love, man.
Yeah.
That's why I love Penn Jillette. He's just one of my heroes.
Mhm.
Penn Jillette from Penn and Teller. I just love this man into the ground. I've been following him for literally my entire life. He's my one hero. When Penn Jillette dies, I'm going to be devastated.
It's gonna shake the core.
Just to the core of me. And he starts every podcast he's done, Penn Sunday School, and they say, and now preach in love, Penn Jillette. He's like, just preach in love. And I've always loved that so much. Every episode, he's like, yep, just here, preach in love. When I hear Logan say like radicalized love, I'm like, yes, more of
World-
that.
That's what it is,
World-
man.
More of
World
that.
needs more of it.
Yeah.
That's all harm reduction is to me, man. It's
Now, whether live or
Radicalized
not, this group here and a few others that we talked about, Logan and I talked about specifically, I would like to try and get to communicate a little bit more and maybe talk a little more and figure out where we can go with things, because we got to have some kind of central hub to spread out from to try and get some of these things to work. And like when I first started with advocacy, can't expect someone else to do it. It's always going to fall on you
Yeah.
to do stuff. And I know, Nick, you're taking a few weeks off. You're not going to talk about it with us at all. So
Yeah.
you're just going to stay away
Yeah,
from
and
advocacy.
here's the
and
thing:
breathe.
I'll still end up jumping on Twitter.
I know.
Yeah.
I know you will.
Oh,
Like
you
at
know he
least
won't be
once
able
a
to
day.
stay
I
away.
won't be able to not get on Twitter.
We-
It's just a thing. But
Yeah.
the thing is, when I'm off, when I'm not working, Twitter doesn't feel like work. If I'm in my office, Twitter feels like work. But like on the summer of Nick, when I took my 3-week vacation last year, I would, in the morning time, I would have some shed time and my coffee outside with my iPad on Twitter every morning. And I loved it. Like Twitter, actually, I looked forward to it instead of when I'm at work and I get on Twitter and I just doom scroll and I'm like in a cranky, angry, terrible mood.
We actually made comments about that. Like you were on your vacation. You were 2 days in. All of a sudden, you get notification after notification after notification. He's supposed to be on vacation.
Yeah, Twitter. I'll always
She
come
actually
back to
she actually
Twitter.
told him, message him to stop. It's like, whatever. I kind of like seeing it.
Yeah. Yep. Well, Twitter was one of my first homes. Like I had my YouTube and then I had a Twitter. When I first started Grim Green in 2009, it was like YouTube and a Twitter. That's what I had.
Yeah. I'm not much for Facebook. I hate the platform. I don't even like
The devil.
Facebook. I log
It's
into my
it's
Facebook
terrible.
once a week, and that's to pull the link to the CASA live from Facebook. I pull that link to include it in the description on
That's
the
it?
podcast, and then I log back out. Like all of my little red bubbles
Are you-
for Facebook are like 99 plus, like across the
Yeah.
board.
Yeah, I have messaged you on Facebook before, and it's like 6 months before you replied to it. So
Yeah,
or
I
did
get on
never reply.
Facebook. Everyone's, I think I make one post a year on Facebook, and it usually goes something like, "Oh, hi friends, I still hate this place. Here's where you can actually find me."
Yeah.
Like that's
Thanks for the birthday wishes.
yeah, that's really about it. But yeah, I mean, you know, in Twitter is what it is. Twitter's a constant cesspool and dumpster fire, but I think for, you know, a lot of advocacy, whether you're in this space or whatever space you're in, Twitter being so politically driven just kind of ends up being the default, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, I find it with my Facebook, it's more towards the DIY community. That's where I use it the most for. The more involved I got with the DIY community, the more I wound up using it. That, and originally it was for reaching out to people to try and figure out, you know, these loophole delivery stuff thing in case it was needed. So that was the other.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing with Facebook. Facebook doesn't make it easy because I have a Facebook and then a page that's Grim Green, and they combine my notifications. So I'm constantly swapping back and forth between the page and then I ultimately just go, I don't want to use it. I don't want to do it. That's too difficult. You made it too dumb.
I stopped using the page for that reason. It just like, no, I didn't like to flip back. It's bad enough I have to flip back and forth between my personal account and the Advocate for Liberty account. And it's like, that's enough of a pain. My family's like, I haven't heard from you in weeks. Are you okay? It's like, oh, I'm sorry. I haven't logged into this account for a while.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just haven't.
They message me now on the Advocate for Liberty account. My family messages me
And sometimes
over
it's
there
just,
now.
just too much social media sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, I have a Discord, I've got this, I've got that, I've got a Twitch, I've got, you know, all these things.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just too much.
You know, and then your OnlyFans, that takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, the Only Foot fans. Yeah, I heard about them.
Yeah. I have an OnlyFeets.
Only Feet.
Only
So I actually don't, but I do have I have OnlyFeets merchandise.
Only feet.
OnlyFeets. Yeah.
Only Feet.
It's for that niche group. that
Well, if
really-
you ever open up an actual
hilarious.
OnlyFans, you have one person right in the house that sign up for it immediately. Just saying.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Logan's a bully.
I am.
So, when's the Ryzen vape going to come back?
Oh
Yes.
gosh. Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Ryzen Vape's
I
been
actually
gone
do
for-
miss it.
Listen, you guys, I'll bring Ryzen Vape back when Nick brings back Culture of Clouds.
Oh, baby.
Oh, I gotta admit, I missed
can't
that
bring
too.
back Culture of Clouds. I can't do Culture of Clouds without Ruby Roo.
That's true.
Listen, that's the stipulation.
What do you
So
want me to do? Okay, I'll bring back Culture of Clouds when I bring back the 510 report. That's
Nick's
how-
just gonna dig up all the old
Shit.
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen,
I missed the 510 report.
I used
That
to
was
really
hard.
like the 510 report.
I
think
did
you
too.
did a really
This is
great job with
hard.
it, but I can only imagine how much work it took.
it was a lot of work, and I was unexperienced, and I had I learned a lot of things
Yeah.
really quickly doing that, and realized, because everything I've ever done, I always think, oh, it can't be that difficult, and I kind of already do that already. Like when I was thinking for the 510 report, I was like, oh, I do news and advocacy for the vlog already, right?
Right.
That'd be an easy thing. I'll just make it its own video. It can be clear, concise, edited, done. And then that turns into, oh, it's like a day and a half long project now. It's not what you thought it was going to be. So sorry about your schedule for a while, you know.
Yeah.
So-
TBN's awesome. That's all I have to say.
I like
Thank you.
TBN.
Thank you. I like TBN as well. I really like that stream a lot.
That's,
I also
that's
feel
great-
it's a lot better when you have Danielle there because
Yeah.
it's not all on you.
Yeah.
And if the fact checker's right there.
I got a fact checker, and I got,
Hey, you got your far left
another
fact
opinion. You know, and like we were talking about earlier, it's another voice on the stage. You know, it's like Danielle and I are the same way. We don't always agree on everything or hold the same political ideologies, but we can learn from each other. And I learned a lot from Danielle, and we make sure we have the facts, and you know, want it to have some integrity. You know.
Yeah, TBN's a great program.
So thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, this week's episode, like I said, if anyone in chat hasn't seen it, go over there and check it out. It's worth the replay. It was a good one. Danielle really broke out some charts. We love it when she brings out those charts.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, some days I wish the world could see Danielle in CASA when numbers come out.
Yeah.
Just that day.
Yeah, that day.
Yeah.
The joy, the elation.
Yeah. And then
Ooh, I gotta do charts.
And then when you get the day when you see CTFK's press reports and Danielle's just like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
She's got the numbers. She did the math. And yeah.
Did the math.
Yeah.
Well, I've been trying to think of a way I've been trying to post vape stuff to the science subreddit, because the science subreddit is a really scientifically forward-thinking subreddit, and they're very critical of studies, and they get in there and they dissect stuff, and they're real. But it kind of depends on what will gain traction on Reddit. But I feel like if we could get something in the science subreddit that, thousands of people see, that gets voted up to the front page, something about vaping and tobacco harm reduction and smoking rates or something, that when it gets
positive
to the front page
exposure
of the science subreddit, it's been vetted by everybody that clicked that link because they belong to that subreddit, so they're hypercritical of it.
Right.
You kind of know it's been vetted, and I feel like that would, I don't know. I'm just trying to think publicly.
Sure.
How do you reach a lot of people?
I tag Med Twitter a lot.
Yeah.
Med Twitter is another space where, they're very, critical on a lot of public health stuff and misinformation about things, and especially with COVID ongoing. So I'll tag them in things.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. It's always nice when you're like, oh yeah, I'm followed by a bunch of doctors. Wild.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah. When you start scrolling through who follows you and you're like PhD, MD, PhD,
Yeah.
like, wild. Thank you. Wild.
Yeah.
Thank you. I lack all of the degrees that all of you have.
Yeah. 100%. I always feel like I'm punching above my belt. Like I'm talking to people really have no business talking to, or
you ever get that that imposter syndrome-ness?
Yeah, definitely all the time.
I do too.
Yeah. Logan does have it. It does have his DDC degree, his daily drinking coffee. DDC. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Coffee is a must for me. Absolutely. Heavily dependent on caffeine, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Nope.
Yeah, I had caffeine for the first time in a while. I had some green tea. It got me all amped up. I was running around my office.
Were you hyped?
Like crazy. Yeah, I was. Because I got it when I went and checked my mail. I go to this little convenience store that I love, and I got a big green tea. Drinking it on the way home. Even by the time I got home, like on the freeway, I could feel myself like, here we go. Oh yeah, caffeine.
I had lab work done last week, and I took a day off of caffeine. Took a day off caffeine.
Yeah.
I was a little grumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah, caffeine withdrawals very real.
And then Addy had 2 drops of super sweet in a mix, and he's bouncing off and vibrating across the floor.
Yeah.
So.
This stuff is the devil, I'm telling you.
Yeah, Capella's super sweet. Yeah, no, I mean in reality,
it's never far away, Addy. Never far away.
It's not great, and using a lot of caffeine is not great. But
we've learned to use it to help cope and think. And once you get used to it,
I just use it to feel like a functioning human being in today's society.
Exactly.
Well, listen, guy, my wife just went to bed, so I just want to say thank you for having me, and it was a great discussion tonight.
Yeah.
And I love you guys. Love you guys in chat.
I love you
Thank
too.
you for everything.
All right, thank you guys.
Appreciate
it.
it.
We'll close this up pretty quick anyway, because it's actually getting. We've been on for a while.
The same thing.
And I wanted to thank you guys again for being here. This is a group of people that, for me, is actually right from the beginning has been important to me, and it's also a group. Here's the issue. Even getting together advocates, we've all seen it. You have to get the right group together that will listen to each other, even if they don't agree. That's not always an easy thing to do. So I played it really safe this week. So, yeah. I know it's kind of a little unfair not to include others, but there's a reason why, because you never know if a little bit one thing said and they don't quite agree with it, they might really push it. Whereas like here, probably Logan's the most in that realm, but even Logan is like open to things, but he's also got so much information to back up anything he says every time.
I mean, I'm always open to learning new things and growing and expanding how I feel about things. But
Yeah.
I have some real core beliefs,
Yep.
and that I hold fast to those. So,
Yeah, and like I said before, and there's vape advocates that are just vape advocates that could really give a crap about anything outside of it. This group is not that group. That's the other reason for choosing night. We could discuss politics. We could discuss harm reduction in other forms, such as the drug form in drugs and stuff like that, legal or illegal. And that can be discussed with this group, not necessarily in other groups. So there was a reason for this. But at the same time, I thank you both because I know you guys are both really busy. Logan, since you've been at CASA, I imagine your workload is like immense sometimes.
no, I don't do anything.
I hardly believe that, by the way.
I don't do anything.
I don't do anything.
And
do
Nick
a
taking
lot
part of
while
your
he does
taking part of your vacation away for this as well.
Well, not technically on vacation yet, but we'll see.
Vacation from YouTube-ish thing.
Yeah, YouTube-ish. I think
mean,
I'm going to
when you-
stream on Tuesday. I might do a build stream Tuesday. We'll see.
When you
I
work
hope
for
so. I
yourself,
like those.
are you really ever on vacation?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not really. It's really a mindset thing.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of food for thought for this week. Like I
Yeah.
said, even if it's not directly, if we can only get together occasionally, a couple of us at a time, we should continue these talks, figure out other things. If you think of anything, make sure you message each other or me, and we can talk about it, about anything else we can do to just try and promote vaping as a harm reduction in a different way. Somehow get through to the public opinion thing. I think it's a big one. And with
Yeah,
the
it's
media,
just
mainstream
difficult.
media, kind of pushing the ants stuff rather than us is really a big thing. We can't get anything on there on TV. We're like on a blacklist. We're not allowed, but
Yeah.
they can.
well, I mean,
Just-
here's the thing. Like everything, it's going to take money.
Yep.
Money, money, money.
Yeah, I mean, and when it comes to mainstream media, it's a matter of what's safe and what's going to get clicks.
Exactly.
And when you have institutions like Campaign for Tobacco Free Kids who have been fighting for America's youth for the past however
Yeah.
many decades, that's a safe side to take for public media. It's a feel good story about fighting for America's youth, and that's a safe side to take for mainstream media and absolutely money.
And like
and
on
what's gonna
Tuesday,
get
TBN, if you've
know.
already won that battle, you got to have a new nemesis, and
Yeah,
that's where
helping
we fall.
45-year-old smokers is not going to get the same
yeah.
number of clicks as popcorn lungs, things like that. Like it just that's
Yeah.
as Americans we love sensationalism, we love scare stories, we love that,
Yeah.
even if it's the furthest thing.
Popcorn.
Oh, I hate that.
Wet lung.
Could pop it up.
Wet lung. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wet lung. That video still gets views. Did a wet lung video.
Yeah. I'm really glad that I've only ever heard about wet lung like twice ever.
Yeah, it
I'm
wasn't
really
ever a
glad that
thing.
one didn't take off.
The popcorn lung thing, the percentage is of parts per million between a vape and a cigarette are like immense as it is to start with with most cigarettes. Like 4 out of 5 cigarettes usually have the same what is it, diacetyl in it, but
Oh,
they
yeah,
have
your
like
average
they have
cigarette.
100 times more than in the highest vape liquids they had it, but they don't never got popcorn lung in cigarettes. And then you look at it and how much it actually took, an exposure over years and years and years at like 700,000 parts per million. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I mean, it happened to
Just-
like 8 people in a popcorn factory.
yeah, that were there day in, day out, probably not wearing any protection, or even if they were, eventually that amount of exposure.
Yeah.
The fact that it gets traction still to this day is just mind boggling. But
Yeah.
yeah. So
Popcorn lung, eval,
Well, you guys,
whatever,
it's all
Yep.
brain poison anyway. So
yeah.
It's all brain poison.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
don't forget, eventually you'll get enough metal poisoning. You can have this cool dragon come out of your body and back in. I don't know how that works, but you get superpowers. Chromium Man. I don't know.
That's what I heard.
yeah.
Chromium Man.
But yeah, you can find Logan.
Oh, yeah. You can find me
We're-
if you're on Instagram or Twitter. You can find me at Logan_exhales, and in my bio there's links to everything else.
Everything
And join
else.
Kasa. That's more important than following.
Join
me.
Kasa. Yeah, that's what I'll say
Yes.
too. Join Kasa.
Yeah. Yep. The link to that is, if you click my little link tree thing on anything, Kasa comes up first. It's the first link that you should click.
And right there's a link to just the Kasa site, and everything's right there, easy to sign
Agreed.
up for.
Hard
Really
agree.
easy. And well, we won't be able to find Nick for a couple weeks if he lives up to what he says.
Weeks.
A few weeks. And he's gonna have a birthday
it's
here, his 21st birthday, so then again this week. So
Yeah.
feel free to send him
21st
gifts.
birthday. Shit. Not even
Yeah.
close, bud.
Nick's about to have his first beer, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First beer ever.
First beer and
First
after
legal
this
beer.
He's
Yeah.
gonna make it a
Beer ever.
sour.
Yeah.
extra sour.
Something
That-
crazy sour.
That one was made with candies. The one that was made with candies, man. That was just like,
That was crazy.
can you believe that?
I don't know.
That
I don't know if
that's
anybody
okay.
did, but the minute you took that sip, the only thing I said in chat was, "Somebody please clip that."
I saw you put that in there. Someone please clip that. Yep.
I was waiting for it.
Someone
Yeah.
like that. It was just wicked sour. Like that was crazy.
Yeah.
Never experienced anything like that before. It's just so intense.
Yeah, and Jedi was like, "Oh, I drink these like every day."
Yeah.
It's like, man, you must have a sweet tooth, like big time.
Sour
And when we go out on the outro and on the intro, if you guys listen to it, that was Adam Plarczyk's cover of now I'm gonna look. No, I can't look.
That one song.
Uncle Tom.
What?
Or isn't it? No, Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer. He did a cover of Tom Sawyer for.
I think that's what you said at the beginning. It
Yeah,
sounds,
Tom Sawyer.
sounds right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
If you listen to the song, I feel like it kind of has that advocacy feel of all the songs he has off his playlist. It just does. It just has that feel to it. And I know, since I can't play all the mainstream stuff, I mean, there's a few songs in Nick's collection there I would love to play, but can't.
Yeah,
Strikes.
same.
So, yeah, you guys have a good time. Have a good night. Reach out to those you haven't heard from, as you could save a life or at least make their day a better one. That's important too. Not just for advocacy for that, but individual advocacy too, to make sure people stay safe. Because during this time when people get down, helping hand, reaching out, even if they don't respond, could save their life. So, Bye everybody.
See ya. Peace out. Be excellent.
A modern day warrior, mean stride. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride. Though his mind is not for rent, don't put him down as arrogant. His reserve a quiet defense, riding out the day's events. The river. What you say about his company is what you say about society. Catch the mist, catch the myth, catch the mystery, catch the drift. The world is love and life are deep. Maybe as his skies are wide. Today's Tom Sawyer, he gets high on you. When the space he invades, he gets by on you. this Tom Sawyer mean bride. Though his mind is not for rent, don't put him down as arrogant. His reserve a quiet defense, riding out the day's events. The river. What you say about his company is what you say about society. Catch the mist, catch the myth, catch the mystery, catch the drift.